Hello, my friends, and welcome back to what number is it? Episode 22, right? Episode 22.
I think, yeah.
22 episodes of this beautiful podcast called Classic Life. Today, we're right smack dab in the middle of the deep dives, I think. And today's Shadow Priest, if you couldn't tell. I have a lovely panel of professional gaming Shadow Priests with me. And then my boy Sarthe. Mr. Sarthe, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Back trying to play the game. Obviously stuck in a lot of queues. And as we were talking about right before this, Gehenna is literally a broken server. You can't loot anything or do anything. So I'm doing great. I've got almost 4 level 70 Death Knights already. So we're going
Which is crazy. How did that leveling process go?
Why the fuck would you do 4?
Because he's a crackhead.
I got servers to play on. I have to have 2 on certain servers. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's been a chill one though. I'm almost done. So the next one, as I get the 4th one up, then now I can gear my characters.
Did it take a while to do all 4 of those DKs?
The first 2 were within the first like 24 hours. I did like that 24-hour stream, and I got my first 2 up. That was my NA one and one of my EU ones. And then I ran my EU raids yesterday off stream. Literally not one item dropped for me. It was like these raids are set so that every single thing that drops I get, right? Yeah. Not one item dropped.
So you got 4 butt naked DKs?
Yep. Well, my fusion one, my NA one is actually decent.
The only one that
but
matters,
everything else is just so lame.
Have you been doing any of the PvP, the BGs? I saw you spamming them for a little bit.
Oh yeah, people are getting. Did you guys notice? People are getting banned like super hard today.
That's so funny. You just said that. Someone just posted that in the Priest Discord that they just got banned.
Yep, there's a huge ban wave today for AFKing, quote unquote AFKing, because a lot of people are always claiming that they're like not AFKing in the BGs. They're like, I wasn't AFKing, I was actually farming the mines or something, you know? And it's like, no, you probably were AFKing, but
it blows my fucking mind that people AFK knowing that that's like the main bans they give out are AFK bans. They've done more AFK bans than they have gold bans.
Dude, I feel like at this point, I really do feel like people just spam report someone if they don't like them.
Oh, I was
70.
Oh, dude, I was spam reported the other day. I don't know what I did, but I got a letter. I got a little ping in the top right of my UI. It said, "Yo, respect the policies" or something. I did absolutely nothing. I did not say anything. I did not do anything, dude. It was crazy.
At this point, people know they're gonna get fucking banned. So there's no way that you're still doing it.
Well, it also sucks because, like, as a streamer, sometimes people just don't.
Came out today.
Some people just don't like you as a streamer, so they'll just spam report you. Like, it'll just be spam reported by people. It's crazy, dude. I don't know how you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah. Luckily, I think Blizzard is decent with their appeal system, but I just know, like, I know a lot of people that got banned today, and then a lot of people are also ban waves are going out for RMT apparently for like gold buying and stuff.
Yeah,
that's what people in my chat were saying earlier right before this. So like Blizzard's just on it for ban waves. AV weekend is about to come up. Like if anyone's out there, don't multi-box a bunch of characters. Don't AFK it because you're gonna get screwed. It's like a 30-day ban. Some people are getting 6-month bans,
which is fucking crazy. All you're doing is AFKing in a BG, bro. But you get a week ban for buying fucking 100k gold. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like 24 hours for those gold bans for a while.
Fucking remarkable. I mean, don't do either or, but that's all I'm doing is AFKing in a fucking BG. Like I'm getting for 600 honor, bro. You're getting me for a month. That's crazy, bro. It's remarkable. And you keep the gold. Yeah, and you keep the gold, bro.
Yeah, they never take the gold away. What is that?
It's fucking crazy, bro. I don't know. It's crazy. So I got derailed. Sorry, but today we have a beautiful, passionate cast of 3 Shadow Priests who actually know what they're doing. Passion, Mr. WoWhead writer. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm also Warcraft Tavern writer lately.
There you go. But good, because they had garbage ass writers before they got you guys, so I'm glad they did it.
Yeah.
Wait.
They're stepping it up.
Yeah, go into that because I have noticed they really did step it up with Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, they just hired. They got good people. They did it for the Warlock one right away. They grabbed the Warlock, the Warlock WoWhead writer. I think they just got a lot of the WoWhead writers. I think.
Yeah, they got Felipe, the mage that you guys had on the mage deep dive. He's on there now.
I love it.
Damn,
that's good. I like.
Zeph.
Yeah, shout out Big Zeph. I like that people. I like that these companies or websites are reaching out to people like that instead of just being like, "Hey guys, here you who don't play Classic at all, but I know that you played it 15 years ago. Write all the guides." And then
That's
those
what
guys
they
are
used to do.
yeah, those guys are ass, right? Look what happened in the same with Icy Veins. Coming from the Icy Veins perspective, that's the same way they were doing too, right? They were just like letting one person write them all, and they were garbage. And what happened? You go to class discords, like, "Oh yeah, these WoWhead guides or Icy Veins guides are ass," and they finally reached out. And now they're doing better.
Yeah, they're like, please don't watch these guys. Yeah, there's some good hunter guides too on there too. Like I feel like
Yeah,
I'm
very
glad
most of
they
me.
stepped it up. I'm glad they stepped it up.
Passion, what's your favorite Shadow Priest spell?
Oh, it's Mind Flay. It's the only button I get to press later. It's
Yeah, there you go.
absolutely best.
There you go. Linelo, my friend. The
Yo.
Sim God X. How are you doing, brother? You wanna introduce yourself a little bit and say your favorite Shadow Priest spell?
Yeah. What's up? Linelo wrote TBC Sim for Shadow Priest and doing the Wrath of the Lich King one as well. Some help from the homies. I like Shadowfiend because that shit pumps in Wrath for sure. Drop that
Dude.
before Lust.
Does it snapshot?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, shit
Oh my God.
pumps. It does more DPS than Shadow. We're paying on some of the fights. It's crazy.
Oh my God. I love that, dude. That's so great. That's such a like huge Wrath mechanic. Is just like pets. Like you utilize
dude.
pets well. They will fucking pump.
I'm looking at some of those lock logs, and I'm like, holy shit, those things are pumping.
Yeah, they pump
Yeah.
way harder than they were in well, considering a lot of warlocks are dim sacking, right? So now it's like we get a pet out and the pets do a lot of damage. It's pretty dope. Can do a lot of damage.
Quick shout out to Cyberquack in chat. He helped with the sim as well.
Yeah, Cyber, he's helped me so much learning how to play this shit on the beta and everything. He's been there just holding my hand the whole way. I love you, Cyber. Love you, dog. What about Big Tit? How are you doing, my friend? You want to introduce yourself and say your favorite Shadow Priest spell, my man?
I'm Bigtitgoth GF. I'm sort of the speedrunning representative for Shadow Priests. Did decently in TBC, but I think my favorite spell is probably Shadow Word Death because of the fond memories I have with it.
Yeah.
How many times have you killed
Those
yourself?
fond memories before they fix the macro.
Lots of
or after
fond
they fix the
memories.
macro.
Nothing better than
Oh,
Mac
after.
Paragon killing yourself on Mag or Blue Beam and Kara.
Yeah, just insta one shot yourself.
I was
But
gonna
that
say
brief
that
like 2
same
months we had where Shadow Word Death didn't do self damage. That was those blue beams were good.
You guys got too big of mouths. You know, got that nerve. We should have kept it in.
One second. Go ahead, start a second.
Yeah. But yeah, so how do you feel about Shadow Priest in speedrunning in TBC and now moving towards Wrath of the Lich King? Because like Shadow Priests get so much more powerful now.
I thought, arguably in TBC, Shadow Priest is probably the hardest spec to play, like single-handedly, because you're the one Shadow Priest in the entire raid. It's probably the hardest spec for speedrunning. There are so many considerations you have to make, especially when it comes to evening out damage across mobs with Shadow Weaving and Misery. But a lot of that, like advanced tech, is removed with Wrath, with Shadow Weaving becoming a personal buff.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. That's one of my favorite things about it is
I mean, it's good and bad, right? Big Tit will talk about it. It sounds like, but we're losing our utility, and we don't necessarily have the DPS to compensate, especially in Nax. So, from a speedrunning perspective, without that extra utility from the Shadow Priest, it becomes more difficult to find that niche place in the group.
That necessity
Yeah, the
for
justification is smaller.
I was gonna say
The
Shadow
Shadow
Word
Priest?
Death is also my favorite spell, but I think I like Shadow Word Pain. I like the mechanic of it. The
If they
crushing
hasted it,
mechanic.
that would be tight.
Oh man, I know, right? What are you saying, Sarge?
Did you ever end up killing yourself with Shadow Word Death?
Well, me and TBC. Oh yeah, Prince.
Yeah.
I played Shadow Priest for a lot of TBC. Well, until I played Shadow Priest from the beginning until Mount Hydro came out, and then I did one Mount Hydro, and I was miserable. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Like,
That's
this
when
is
you were
the
supposed to go
worst.
Holy Nova. That's
Yeah,
what
I'm
you were
done.
supposed to do.
I was like, I'll wait till Lich King. Void Eruption, yeah. I was like, I'll wait. I love Shadow Priest. I played Shadow Priest for years on retail, and it's so different. Obviously, it's so different, but it's in a good spot. I like it a lot. I'm enjoying
That
the
was
shit out of
me
it.
on Hunter and Hydral. I literally I straight up did not want to do it. I was like, I don't want to do this raid. I can't do anything. Like,
Yeah,
this is so pointless. Yeah.
Well, we did invent a new meta around that time to make it more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. We did. It was like the
It
Holy
also
Nova
made it better.
spam.
It wasn't just more enjoyable.
Oh
Yeah.
no, it was the most performant option.
It did a lot of damage too. I remember that.
Yeah, Holy Nova popped off for a bit, and it was fun doing a whole new gear path and all the
Mhm.
extra theory crafting associated with it. But it fell off pretty quick.
Do we have any Lich King news? I mean, I think we already talked about news. Do we have any news, Sarthe? Anything crazy? The normal before we get into it?
I guess we haven't. What came out last week was Blizzard talking about actually buffing Ulduar eye levels.
Oh, that really?
Did you guys all see that?
I did. Yeah. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So Blizzard mentioned 2 weeks ago nerfing ICC and Trial of the Crusader eye level gear, which would basically make all of the like classes that scale really well at the end of the game a lot weaker. That nerfs obviously like warriors, but any sort of melee class or even fire mages and stuff. But it really nerfs everything. And the idea was to make Ulduar more important so that we stayed doing Ulduar during Trial of the Crusader. Well, they flipped the switch on that because the community did not like that at all, realistically. And they flipped the switch on that and made a proposition to buff the actual eye level of the gear from Ulduar instead. So instead of nerfing other things, they're just thinking of buffing Ulduar. So that hard mode Ulduar gives better gear than it used to like not really give you much. Like you get more gear and stuff, but like now it gives you better gear than normal mode Trial of the Crusader. So there's reasons to go back there even for that, but also I think it's exciting because one, they said that they're releasing pre-nerf Ulduar now, which means Ulduar is going to be harder, and that's exciting. So you'll be more challenging. You'll go back into the raids. You'll get loot. You have to go back anyways for Valinir and a couple trinkets, so it doesn't matter. Now there's like reasons or like perks for killing things on hard modes over killing things on normal mode. Now it's like, oh, now you also get higher eye level gear. There's a lot exciting in my opinion, but I'm curious what you guys kind of think about it.
I think that sounds great, especially because you should go back for Valinir, right? I'm so tired of going back to Black Temple for literally no gain except maybe someone gets a Warglaive.
Yeah.
I'd love give me a reason to go back for me as well, right?
Fucking Warglaives.
Dude, SPriesrs, Valinir? Yeah, that's a hot topic.
Oh my God.
Can you make it work though?
I like that, dude.
I think they should. I want harder difficulty, so whatever makes that happen. Especially Ulduar. Like, you know how Sunwell is a good difficulty? Like, I would take that. But it would also be cool to have it a little harder, but also optional. So then the people who don't like it hard don't bitch about it.
The hard modes you don't have to do. That's like the. But you do get rewarded for it now, which is, I think that's like exciting for the sake of like, obviously it's harder, it's more of a challenge, it's cool, you get more loot, but now you get like this stronger loot, and all of the loot in Ulduar feels like a more of a jump from Naxx now with like all of it getting buffed. So we all know that Naxx is realistically not a hard phase, and we're going back to Naxx. We've done Naxx before. It was challenging early on without world buffs, but like with world buffs, you slap through it. Now we're going to a new Naxx that's realistically you blow through Naxx. You do, no matter what. So this like version of leaving up open like this jump, this larger jump of difficulty in the raid, Ulduar is going to be a lot more challenging. They didn't have to do like a private server, like just static buff of things. It's going to be a lot more challenging because there's mechanics, there's buffs and damage, there's buffs and breakpoints, there's buffs and HP. All of that is coming. And then it just seems like this like really cool, like then you also get to do these challenging versions of the raid, like challenging versions of the bosses, and like get rewarded with like just this awesome loot that's even gonna like hold you up into the next phase. It's yeah, I'm over here kind of giddy about it, like you know.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome too. I think Shadow Priest scales pretty well as the expansion goes on. I think Naxx is probably their weakest point by quite a bit. So yeah, having an earlier boost and some of the performance from the Ulduar gear is going to help quite a bit to push us up, especially in the DPS rankings.
There you have it. All right, well, now the real juicy shit.
Yeah, I think that's all of the news that came out this week. I believe so.
So next, how do you guys think Shadow feels? How does Shadow feel in the beta? I personally think it feels amazing, but you know, I think everything feels amazing. Pretty optimistic here. What do you guys think? For coming from Shadow mains from TBC, like, you know.
it feels really good, and at the same time, kind of not as good as I want it to. But that's coming from I like the clipping from Burning Crusade, and while you don't do it as much, you don't do it for everything in Wrath. You have to be a bit smarter about it. You have to plan a lot more than you did for TBC. But I don't know. I just enjoyed constantly watching a bar. That's I don't know. There's something about that works for me in gameplay.
I think the beta
So-
feels a lot better now that they fixed the dots. You know, thanks Crix for the Twitter post. I'd say my favorite thing so far has been Mindseer, but I'm still trying to figure out, you know, do you want to spread your dots first? Do you want to Mindseer? What's that cutoff between how many mobs there are before you want to do the dot rotation? And then shit dies so fast. So it's really, you know, getting the Mindseer out as soon as possible, especially if you can get it with like a initial haste buff to get those ticks going off really quick. That feels pretty good for AoE, but I mean, it's nice to see the DPS numbers. It feels weird not being a utility support, but that's something we'll just get used to.
So Mindseer's afflicted by haste.
Yeah,
Significantly, or what? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Mind Flay. So those ticks, the channel time gets reduced, and essentially the time between ticks gets reduced. So it can really pump.
That's great. I mean, things die so fast in Nax. Yeah, I think that's like every class has this like balancing act of like, do I get dots or spread anything or like get buffs up or anything, or do I like just do my ability right now? Because a lot of times some of the pulls, especially in the Spider Wing, it's like it's dead before you get a dot up. Like, you're just getting in position.
I think the hard modes are going to be nice, especially as moving to Old War. You know, Trash is going to live a lot longer, and I think some of these, you know, locks and other classes with a lot of AoE are really going to pick up in the total damage.
I wish Mindseer ticked off the first tick.
Yeah, me too.
So
I wish you
bad.
could put it on the tank.
Oh man, it's
I wish,
crazy.
yeah, exactly. I just wish it affected the target you put it on. That's I don't even have to put it on the tank. Just let it hit whatever I'm casting it on.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Wasn't that like a patch thing? That's why I didn't do it. Like it was like that was later in the patch. They came in Kata.
Dude, they love nerfing Shadow Priest. If you're just slightly close to a pure DPS, they're like, nope, too strong.
Yeah.
Bring them down.
Well, since like Passion mentioned it without the utility, that fool or whoever mentioned that, Leno, that it would be nice if they make that up in damage. Right there, do damage, but it's like a little bit more, you know.
I mean, I've been advocating on forums and bothering Brian on Twitter. I just want small little tweaks to Shadow would really push us, you know, in a comparable state to Boomkin, for example. You know, Boomkin has just insane AoE, and their single target compared to Shadow Priest is, you know, almost similar, right? So if you have the Imp Fairy Fire on Boomkin with the % hit, then why do you need Misery?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I recently posted that, you know, if they could take off the % hit from Fairy Fire, then Shadow Priest is necessity, even if there aren't comparable on AoE DPS or single target, which they will be as the expansion continues. But in Nax, it's just not the case.
And if more things last longer too, you guys are gonna eat way more, right? Because they have Starfall, but if they don't have Starfall, they're kind of cheeks, right? AoE.
Yep. If you can get your dots out, if you can get your dots out and your Mindseer, then you're just pumping.
Yeah, true. Bigtit, how do you feel? Are you liking it right now? Are you happy with how it is?
I think it's quantifiably fun enough, but yeah, part of you always feels like there's something missing, you know, as Linelo was saying, with tweaks to the classes that could be made. Because you think back to what Blizzard have publicly said in the past on forums before about why they've taken certain design changes with Shadow Priest. And the reasoning for that, what they seemed to have at the time, was it's because we're not necessarily a hybrid, but we have the opportunity to switch to a different spec. So I don't know what's happened at Blizzard there, but they seem to have forgotten that the other spec we have isn't a DPS spec.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly like you're going to be doing competitive damage on a Smite Priest. So it would be nice to, now that we're not a utility class at all, to, you know, be consistently competitive.
Yeah, or add more utility. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, just as it is in TBC.
Yeah, so it's an interesting spot for Shadow Priest. I think, you know, Nax is going to be our most difficult portion of the expansion for finding the niche and finding our place in the guild. And I guess I'm specifically talking upper echelon, speed running, high parsing, going for the Warcraft log meta type guild. You know,
Do you think
99%
they
of the
even
guilds are going to be fine.
do you think they even at this current point then, because Shadow Priest isn't really bringing anything technically unique then, are they worth bringing in that meta? That's really a rough question to ask, but do you think it's going to be brought early on in Nax in that meta?
No. In any guild trying to actually get like top 10 times or going for full pass meta, no, I don't think they're bringing Shadow. I don't see a reason. Not in Nax. The unique aspect of Shadow right now is dispersion, and there's maybe one situation you can soak things with dispersion in Nax, so you don't even have that yet. Ulduar, I can
because you can
definitely
cheese some
argue it.
mechanics later, but like early on, that doesn't really.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah,
case.
the
Yeah,
only mechanic in Ulduar or in Nax that you can soak with dispersion is like the meteor on 4 horsemen, and who cares about that? Just
Yeah.
stack, you're all there anyway.
Yeah. Like you just cleave the 4 horsemen down anyways, like especially now. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I do think Ulduar on Shadow Priest would be a lot more beneficial in a raid. I mean, you can just go back to I don't want to use private server as an example, but you can go back to OG,
It's our best base.
Ulduar. It is and it isn't. There's a lot of things that are different, a lot of metas that are different. But I mean, just Ulduar, and if you just go to Ulduar VODs in general across OG or private server, you'll see that Shadow Priest definitely peak up in DPS, including AOE, single target. They start to be near the top, which actually does warrant bringing one. So I think that's going to be really helpful. But Nax is going to be the difficult one. So hopefully you're homies with your guild and they let you chill around for a bit.
Everything dies so fast. That's my only kind of like
That's
my
the
complaint.
issue.
Yeah, like everything. Like these skitters right here, you can get a channel off. You're barely getting it off, and they're dead. And then with all the, it's just with all the snap AOE everybody has, it's just like makes it rough, right?
Yeah, and that gets a bit better in Ulduar as well,
Yeah.
where the trash isn't just lots of small things. There's you get a few bigger targets most of the time, at least.
And shit lasts longer too. So it's gonna be real nice. I think I've never seen the Shadow Priest. I've seen Shadow Priest from private servers. I've seen him pump up in the Ulduar further, and I was like, "Yo, Shadow slaps." This is the first time I saw a Shadow Priest. Like, it really does do good damage. It's trash ready for DPS because a lot of us care about DPS and trash. A lot of us, that's all you can really do, right? It's overall. There's bosses and there's trash, and you can either be like AFK on the trash and just follow somebody, or you can pump. And I like to pump. We all do so. Trash damage is big.
A lot of your dots also can now like crit, right? So like you can
crit
things,
affected by haste,
things. Yeah. So Shadow really is like, like you were saying, it is a class that can scale extremely well. Yeah,
we don't have the same haste caps other classes have because our main DPS spell, specifically single target, but you can also think about it for mines here. You can go below GCD because your ticks can happen multiple times between one GCD. So you don't really have the same haste cap. You actually increase linearly with haste in your DPS.
I never thought about that, but that's so huge actually.
Yeah, you need an insane amount of haste. I wish I had the number on me before you actually start to level off. I think it's more than actually achievable, even in ICC.
Damn.
Because mind play.
The aspect of Shadow Priest on trash, like because you have so many spells that can be used for AoE compared to like a Warlock who just Seed of Corruption is probably going to be your best choice no matter what, right? As Shadow, there's every target you add up to a point potentially changes your priorities. And then as you get gear, as you scale different things differently, then things get better or fall off.
What about the utility? You guys touched on it. You want to talk about the utility Shadow Priest brings? Whether they share it or not with anybody, you can still talk about it.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is Misery, which is 3% hit, and that's shared with, I think it's only Boomkins, right? They're the only ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the main one. And outside of that, you've got Hymn of Hope, which is unique to Shadow Priest, raid-wide innovate, smart restoring mana to everyone, and Divine Hymn, which is just Priest's Tranquility, basically. And they're both great, but they're not really required, right? You can get away without them always.
I have seen some discussion about the healing him and the utility it could bring on some either parse or potentially speed. Maybe Big Tit can weigh in, where you could potentially drop a healer and get away with utilizing that him as an oh shit, I need some healing moment if healing does get intense. That way you can still have the extra DPS in there. Like, I'm not speedrunner, but I could see some merit in that argument.
Yeah, you can also, you do still have Vampiric Embrace. It's drastically different to what it was in Burning Crusade, where in Burning Crusade it was a 30-second debuff on the boss, or a minute debuff on the boss, sorry, that healed your party for 15% or 25% of all damage you dealt. Now it's a 30-minute self buff that heals your party for, is it 3% of all damage you deal?
So you get the tank group.
Yeah, so potentially you can be in a group that needs a little bit of AoE, a small amount of AoE healing for the entire group, and you can constantly be healing them, and it does amount to a lot because in Wrath, classes are doing a lot more DPS than they have health, right? In TBC, maybe you're doing like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 DPS, and you have 10,000 health. It takes a while to top up, but in Wrath, the DPS numbers are a lot more, like a lot bigger of a portion of a health bar. So it's a lot more effective healing for a full raid, or for a full party.
That's actually pretty huge too. And I mean, dropping a healer is like always the goal in any sort of speedrunning situation. That's like genuinely one of the most important things you could possibly even think about is dropping a healer, because literally you just bring one more DPS. So in that sense, Shadow Priest could really help. I mean, right now, what you do as the meta is actually you drop a healer and you bring a boomkin currently in speedruns, and they do a lot of healing in situations or like fights where you need extra heals. But if not, you pretty much have 4 healers, and then your boomkin's trying to like stay in aura so he can help out the like the casters with the extra crit, right? And then also he's doing extra damage.
I think Priest is the best thing to come dual spec out, right? I don't even over Boomy maybe. The disc is better, or the holy healing side of it is better than I feel like a Resto Druid would be. Then Boomy has that damage, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, Boomy's AoE is just stupid right now. I mean, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
One of the downsides though of dual specking disc is you generally only want to bring one discipline priest, right?
True.
You don't. There's no reason to bring more, so it does have to be holy if you're dual specking, swapping into a healer every now and then. And holy itself just isn't the best healer.
That's true. 1 healer, 3 Shadow Priests for max speedruns. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. What about replenishment? I feel like that's a good little enough to get enough to stick in there.
But then the thing is, you get everyone else, more people bring it also. That's like the flaw, right? Is that, what is it? It's Survival Hunter, Ret Paladin,
Frost Mage, Destro Lock.
So yeah, but you have Destro Locks, so that's.
I don't think there may be too many.
Yeah,
Destro
they should have
locks,
Destro. You have a demo and Infliction
maybe.
for sure.
I think there'll be some scattered Destros, obviously, and the people doing it, but
not
there's
in
not
top
going to be a
guilds
lot.
though.
Yeah.
If you have a Destro lock, then just bring a Shadow Priest because you're already fucking up.
So,
in that sense, though, it seems like it's just like the Hunter is like the.
Well, Ret.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ret is, other than bringing the extra blessing, Ret is, that's what a Ret is going to be brought for in Nax, unfortunately. Are
we missing one? Ret Survival?
Ret Survival,
Destro,
Frost Mage, Destro.
Oh yeah,
Shadow.
Frost Mage, lol.
Yeah, you're not bringing Frost
Stack
Mage.
Frost Mages, guys. You're good to go.
Yeah. Ret can be brought for
DSAC,
DSAC, but you don't really need DSAC in Nax outside of you have your other DSAC.
But also, Ret struggles to spec into improved DSAC. You can get it, but you sacrifice so much to get there. So I wouldn't want to bring a Ret for improved Divine Sacrifice, and you don't really want the regular one.
I think Shadow Priest will shine in 10 mans, right? That's gonna be real nice.
I've seen some pretty good logs. I didn't try any though, but yeah, they look pretty good.
10 mans is always a big chance for everyone, right? Because you might just not have a boomkin ready, right? And then the Shadow Priest brings a lot more value.
Yeah.
I'm still advocating for the one singular change that would allow a singular Shadow Priest per raid. Get rid of hit on improved Fairy Fire.
There you go.
Done. And then you need a Shadow Priest. It's crazy that they doubled up on buffs like that just to get weed out certain classes.
Yeah, that's
But
kinda
I
crazy they
mean,
did it.
whatever.
I wish there. Yeah, now it makes more sense when Passion said. I wish there was something with the priest that made him like you need to bring one, like kind of how they were, because of how much damage.
Yeah,
but
but
if-
man,
But with that one change, it also then nerfs boomkins, right? So then like
But you still bring a boomkin.
I mean, you still bring a boomkin.
Crit aura. They still do fantastic AOE damage. They still have off utility. They have innovates.
yeah, it
They
doesn't
have-
impact
they have
them at
the
all.
grid buff.
is it a unique crit aura?
Yeah, the crit aura is unique.
Unique to them? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, sorry, it's them and elemental shamans. Another spec you don't bring.
Yeah, what you're not bringing Elemental Shaman, but you are bringing enhancement. So that's the difference between S-Priest and any other class. It's like, because everyone's like, what about Frost Mages? Why aren't you going to buff them? It's like, well, because they can fucking play something else.
Yeah,
We have to re-roll.
that's true.
Yeah.
Or Ellie. Yeah, I know Ellie's so much fun. I feel bad
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellie feels so satisfying. It was so sad.
I don't know. I've seen some videos of Crix pumping on Ellie.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, well, that was gonna be really good phase one, but you know,
Yeah, I think any class can shine in the right settings, but does that mean you're going to bring them in a speed run?
No.
No, it doesn't. So, I mean, I'd say, you know, any Shadow Priest listening to this, you know, it's not really doom posting or anything. We're, you know, first, most people aren't speed running, right? So, you know, for the majority of guilds, a Shadow Priest is still going to do well, if not top charts on some guilds, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure.
If you're in just a dad guild or just you know, you describe yourself in trade chat as semi-hardcore, you're fine. Bring a Shadow Priest, you'll be golden.
Yeah, if anything, if you play well, as the other classes are trying to figure out how to push more than one button, you're gonna shine early on, and especially once you move into Old War and further raids, Shadow Priests do really pick up. Nax is going to be the hard part, especially for speedruns. That just is what it is.
I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to justify using them for speedruns more. Like, mana's not really an issue. Like ever, it feels like I don't know.
Nope.
Bro, it's so much fun. Like,
I think the only time, I mean, the only thing is if you want to have a decently geared one moving into Old War.
True.
I mean, that's all I could think. But I don't know. You know, there's, you know, Big Tit here's the speedrun expert. I don't do speedruns, but I've been scanning the logs looking for any rationale to bring one. Hymns is the only thing I could think. But other than that, it just doesn't seem worth it.
I mean, where's that log you showed me, bro? So if they're slapping like that, I mean,
Yeah, Cyberquack. Again, his log's pretty good. Or their log. I don't know him, her.
trying to find it. Yeah, you guys were slapping with this. This is big damage here. This is way different than what I was seeing.
Well,
and in Apex is another one. He's my guild Shadow Priest, and he was slapping too. This is not it. Fuck.
That's the thing, right? Like a good Shadow Priest will probably be better than a mediocre anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so if you have
This
a
is
good
pretty
Shadow
crazy
Priest,
Shadow
bring a
Priest.
good Shadow Priest.
Pretty crazy
Yeah,
Shadow
Cyber's
Priest
pumping. And
overall.
Donkeys is no joke, dude. Donkeys is a good guild. So this is, I mean, these
Oh,
guys. are
White
pumping.
Mane.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
White Man
that's-
homies, dude. That's where it's
Yeah,
at.
dude. That was I have a lot of friends in that guild.
Yeah, Cyber's pumping here. He actually, I've been looking at
This
his
is
logs,
overall as well.
analyzing.
Yeah.
That's overall. That's
Yeah, and
But-
I've seen another Apex. I've seen a couple Shadow Priests. I did not
Apex
do
did
this.
pretty
I was
well.
half of this. I was like overall
Yeah.
like way down here. You know what I mean? So I was like,
But-
damn. I was like, oh, to see this, I was like, oh, I'm doing something wrong.
And you'll also see that Cyber is also using hymns during some of the fights, right?
Mhm.
So this isn't trying to maximize his DPS here. This is trying to play utility and DPS. So he's doing really, really well here.
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's hope. There's definitely hope, but we'll see once people actually
Yeah.
start speedrunning.
A lot of it is just doom posting as well, right? Like any speedrun guild, I'm sure will be able to get a top 10 time with a Shadow Priest in their run. I don't think that's going to be enough of an object to prevent anything. But you've got a ton of doom posting, you've got YouTube videos and forum posts and that saying that Shadow Priests are absolutely screwed in Wrath of the Lich King. And so people immediately just decide, well, okay, I won't play it, and then the numbers reflect that no one's playing it, and people decide not to play it because the numbers say that no one's playing it, right?
They get doom posted by all streamers and shit. I'm like, yeah, Shadow Priests are garbage.
Yeah, there's so many videos and streamers that have just said that Shadow Priests are terrible, and it's like
They're
no.
B tier.
know,
They're
but
C tier.
You see, like, the similar thing with like Ret Paladin, but for some reason, like, so many people are rolling Paladin, like Ret Paladin, not just rolling, like, obviously Holy and Prop Paladin are like God tier, right? But so many people, what is that? I mean, have you
I
guys
haven't
looked
seen
into
that.
that?
Just Ret,
No,
yeah,
I haven't seen a lot of Red at all.
Oh my god,
I've
I
seen a
have
ton of
so
Ret.
much, dude.
I-
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But
Yeah.
the difference between Ret is that Ret actually, like, in actual RAF, had a period of being the best spec in the game, and it was a pretty long period.
Yeah.
We're not on that patch. That's 3.0.
They
that's
nerfed it, yeah.
3.1.
Oh, okay.
That's early days when you could cast sequence your entire rotation and you'd be do the most DPS in your raid. You can't do that here, but people still people are still looking at that, right? They look up Wrath the Lich King, Ret Paladin, and they get old videos and like, hell yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They get debated.
Dude,
Yeah,
they're getting
dude,
it
for
so
real.
debated.
YouTube is the biggest debate for
The
so
Ret
much shit.
Copium, it's crazy to me because, like, I get asked the question probably, like, I'd want to say it's, like, not that much. It's, like, 20 times a day about it. And, like, I just, like, like, to be honest, like, Ret is just not super solid until later in the phase. I think it's going to be fucking phenomenal in ICC, though. Like, I should see that, like, if the proc rate is high, if there's a high PPM of their, like, 2-piece 10
Shadowborn.
tier 10, it is I think they just, like, are the biggest, most giga spin to win, because that's just, like, ridiculous overall damage. Like, I know all speedrun guilds are probably looking at it pretty heavily.
Are you thinking Ret's gonna be the big melee at the end of the game? Is that what it is? Over Fury?
I'm not saying anything. I think it's super underestimated, potentially. It highly dependent on proc per minute of this proc rate, right? Highly dependent. And also, if it is that good, that, like, I think it potentially could be, this is like fully like speculation. Yeah, spectacle. Then a lot of people are going to be upset. A lot of people are going to be excited, but a lot of people would be really upset seeing Gret be, like, crazy good, because that would mean they're less crazy good, right? And, like, the whole plan is,
I never mind any of these niche classes, if I can use that word, being good at being, like, pumped. Like, who cares, bro? They're literally ass for, like, most of the world. Most of the time they're existing as a spec. Fucking pump for a little bit, you know.
Dude, I learned that. I made a forum post just suggesting adding haste to Shadow Word Pain, because it would push us up just enough to make us viable.
Oh man, that'd be crazy.
The amount of shit I got for posting that
Yeah.
but what about this class, or why would you want to be good? Just re-roll something else. I'm like, why do you care if another class does slightly better? It doesn't hurt you.
No, dude, they do.
Like, what the
Every
fuck?
class does.
Shadow Priest is one of those things where it's like you, like someone said earlier, like as a warlock or a mage or a fucking rogue, anything in the world, you like, what? Oh, my spec is ass. I'm gonna go play my other spec. But Shadow's like one of the only ones who literally just, you have Shadow. Ret's another one too, but you know, you only have Shadow. There's a lot of Shadow fans.
I just don't get the philosophy of why are people against having other classes do well or change. I mean, I've seen that so much.
Even some Shadow Priests have been against the idea
God, dude,
buffing it. It's ridiculous.
Why did they even not give it to him in the first
The Shadow Priests are like, we know our place. Don't try to make us stronger.
Yeah, dude, for real,
actually,
it is.
There is actually a reason they didn't give haste to Shadow Word Pain originally, and it's coding related. It's related to the game engine and the way the game functioned at the time. They've literally, like, Blizzard has literally posted about this back in WraF, like, we were gonna do this and we couldn't.
Yeah, so they couldn't fix how it snapshot the initial haste level, so people were going crazy, getting insane amount of haste on a dot that stays the entire fight. So they ended up removing it from Shadow Priest, keeping it on Warlock Corruption, and then fixing Corruption later, but then never adding it back to Shadow Priest.
Yeah, but to be fair, we don't have only Corruption is hasted, right? We don't
I hear you.
like the other ones,
Yeah, I advocated for making all dots scale with haste and crit. Just all of them across the board. That means Unstable Affliction, COA.
Yes. Unholy DKs, let's go!
Yeah, I was about to say, does
Why
that not
not?
just break DKs immediately?
We're fucking, dude, DKs, dots stacking with haste? Because imagine us spreading our dots with Pestilence, and they're hasted. They're hasted, you're like, and
They're
it's
going
all
off
dead.
rip. Yeah, they like, it's instant damage.
Yeah, I mean, read the chat, so you'll see. So they ended up So they finally fixed corruption midway through ICC, right? So Kata's right around the corner. And so they didn't want to add hasted Shadow War Pain back in mid fucking patch. So they just waited for Kata, which was a few months away. So they made the decision late in ICC that they wanted to put it back in, but they ended up just waiting for the pre-patch. So now we're starting on 3.3 or whatever. We're starting on 3.3.5. They might as well. I mean, I don't say might as well, but they could have rationale for adding hasted Shadow War Pain back in. They're not going to, So it is what it is. But that's something that would really push us up.
I think it's one of those things where if they change this and they got to change that, and then other people will be like, "Yo, change this," and that's their logic.
They already started that with demo lock, though.
Yeah,
they changed the demo. They changed demonic pact.
That had to change, though.
It begun.
If that didn't change, that would have been pretty crazy. That was a pretty shit thing that they had going on.
It was a shit thing, yeah, but it's a fundamental
than
change to the spec that also fundamentally changes their gameplay and also increases their DPS.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just to make it make more sense as well.
Yeah, to make it playable. Because fuck
that.
Fuck demo. As a demo lock, fuck that. If they didn't took that, I wouldn't have played demo. I'm like, no. A lot of people wouldn't have played demo.
For this in general, even for me, if you nerfed everything else with Shadow Priest just slightly to compensate for Shadow Word Pain being hasted, I'd still want it hasted because it makes more sense. It makes the class cohesive. Like all of your dots are hasted, all of your dots get crit, right? Why would this not be the case? Why does Shadow Form have to have this weird exception in its 2-paragraph long tooltip?
This long ass tooltip it's got, bro.
Yeah, dude, Shadow Word Pain
that tooltip is insane, and if you don't look carefully, you might not even notice that Shadow Word Pain isn't included there.
Damn, imagine living bomb hasted. That would be fucking crazy too.
Dude, they actually went through 2 iterations of trying to figure out how to add hasted Shadow Word Pain. First, they had it in the talent for Shadow Form, and then they had it as a glyph, and then they just took it out. So I like the glyph idea.
Added it again.
And then they added it again in Kata. Yeah. So I like the glyph idea because then you don't have it benefiting Shadow Priest in PvP because Shadow Priest in PvP are very strong. So that is a really good way to handle that spell where they get buffed in PvE, which they could be because they're pretty low, at least early on, and they don't get impacted in PvP, so they're not too overpowered there. Oh, 1 second, my kid. Good night.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that is also a big thing. I absolutely understand and respect the argument of, but we don't want to break them for PvP. And there's a reason that Blizzard at this point has entirely given up on retail PvP balance, right? Like, if it breaks them for PvP, fuck it, that's what it is. But we are at a point in WoW where you can get around that. You can deal with it in ways that don't affect PvP. You can make it a glyph, you can put limitations on it, you can do all these things that you couldn't before or were against the design philosophy of the time.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, we're in this golden era of like, they know that some of the things they're suggesting are getting like really good feedback. And like, so like now they're actually like having this like communication with the community, which I think is like beautiful, right? Like, yeah, there's ways that the game can become better in ways that like it actually can become better, and not just like, obviously they get fielded like some of the most ridiculous random things, like the nerfing of the ICC and Ulduar things. They're like, we've heard a lot of complaints, so this is what we're thinking of. But like they put that out there, and the community was like very quick to be like, yo, I didn't like that shit at all. You know, everyone was like, no, don't do that. You know, and then they retracted on it, which was like beautiful, right? I think Blizzard is like, this is the first time we've really seen Blizzard.
It's good they're listening.
Listen and cooperate and like
there's
work
actually
together.
a dialogue with Blizzard that it's almost like they're a company right now. It's great, and I hope they keep it up, and I hope they're willing to listen to the entire expansion.
Yes.
Except for me, I've posted.
Besides the queues, I get. As much as I want to bitch and moan about the queues, and I will bitch and moan about the queues, I still can't fault Blizzard all too much for literally 20,000 people logging on at 4 p.m.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe the queue. Like, it's shocking. These are
I'm used to the queues. Like the normal launch was like this the whole time, right? Like, but it wasn't the same way where like
I didn't think it was.
Oh my.
The classic launch, not TBC launch. TBC launch, but I didn't have a queue at all, I don't think. But I was also on like Herod or whatever.
See, yeah.
I just didn't log off.
I didn't. I never
True.
like on launches. I never log off until I'm there.
Yeah,
So
I logged on I logged on at like 8 a.m. and I logged off at like 2 a.m. and I never had a queue.
I'm doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've been taking the past week off to get ready, but I'm hitting it tomorrow. I'm getting on like 6 in the morning, and I swear to God, I'm not leaving that queue. That's crazy. Hopefully it's not that bad on a weekday, but it has been though. That's just crazy. That's what's blowing my mind. It's like a 3 or 4 hour queue at noon on a today's a holiday.
I think it's a holiday.
Well, no, I'm talking about last week. Literally,
thinking.
there's like a Thursday or something like that. I was like, wow.
Today's not a holiday in Europe when Gehenna's had a queue at fucking 1 p.m.
Gehenna's is fucked though. Gehenna's is straight. It's broken. Like I wasn't even kidding.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like you can't play the game most of the time. Like during peak hours at 19. We usually have raid time at 19. You literally cannot raid. We 100% had to postpone our entire raids. We had 3 Sunwells planned. We were trying for like 2 hours just to even make it to the first boss. Can't even raid.
We did a hydro on the first Wednesday of the pre-patch, and it was literally just staring around for an hour while everyone got disconnected and put back in the beginning of the queue, and some people's games just crashed when they got summoned, and another guild that was raiding at the same time as us, they just didn't have wave spawn when they started the event, so they had to give up.
Yep.
Come to White Man, it's easy. I get on and play.
Bro, I used to be on White Mane, and I'm not even trolling you. There's a big decision when I was gonna leave. I would left to go Alliance mid T6. I was like, fuck White Mane. But I was like, damn, I probably,
You're in Mutiny, right?
Yeah, I was like, White Mane's popping. Oh, I bet you they ain't got no queues. And all my friends on White Mane who, when I was there, just like, yo, we have no queues. LOL. I'm like, yeah, fuck you.
La.
Oh, I hate being on Benediction. I have to, but oh my God, it's pretty bad.
I'll take these queues for an alive server in the middle of the expansion.
Facts.
Yep.
Big facts, bro.
For sure. I'm for sure agreed. Like it's so nice. It sucks on launch, obviously, but like in the long run, worth it. I just wish the game worked. It's like this is the first time I've experienced the game like actively not working. Like the game itself, literally not working.
I feel bad for Live. Oh, the raid. No, the raid is like a couple weeks old, and it's me too, so it's not the best shadow play. I feel bad for the people who aren't us. I feel bad people who work normal jobs and they have to sit there and try to, maybe they don't know about remote login. And with the classic queues, that's when I was still working like a normal job. And I remember trying to like remote queue in on my phone and like something fucks up and you can't get it or your power goes out. And it really stucks people. A lot of my friends, I got screwed on a raid last night, misjudging the queue. I got on 4 hours before raid, bro. And it was a 5.5 hour queue. And I'm like, I'm not going to the whole Discord. The raid didn't even go for like 2 or 3 hours after original raid time because it was like everyone's just getting screwed by that queue, dude. It's crazy. I can take a queue. Please fix the in-game lag. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they can do to fix it, and I know it's a lot of the community's fault because everyone changes servers and goes to here and here and here. But man.
Well, part of the reason Gehenna's is so bad is that Blizzard accidentally let people transfer onto Gehenna's for free. So they just completely screwed the server by a broken free transfer, right?
Yep. They let everybody transfer to a dead server, like for free off of Firemaw because Firemaw was locked, and then that server had free transfers because it was a dead server over to Gehenna's. So you just did a double. So you just did a double transfer. Layers helps usually for login. I don't think it helps for in-game like what we're currently experiencing on like a server like Gehenna's.
Every time the layer number goes up, the servers get super laggy for like an hour or two, and you just can't do anything. And then that'll finally settle, and you'll notice that we've got 5 more layers. I wonder why that happened.
I actually can't mute the in-game sounds sadly because I'm in queue and I'm scared to back out and mute it. So I have it turned down real low. I don't know how to do that. Sorry about that. I'm scared, bro. The queues got me scared, bro.
I feel that.
That was a good
discussion.
This was a lot of fun.
Windows volume mixer or something.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
And also, if you're using voice meter, you can change it there.
Yeah,
the good old banana.
The good old beaners, bro. Well, it should already be. Oh.
Oh, speaking of, I just got disconnected on Gehenna's. Back to logging into game server for the next 10 minutes.
Ooh, have fun.
That sucks ass, dude.
I wasn't even playing. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have to queue when we're done here.
Yeah, I'm ready. That's me in the background, Eth. So next, I'm going to go. We're in game. and just kind of with the priest, you can go to priest and then priest changes and then shadow kind of overview, like a priest, like how we talked about him, and I'll just kind of show it on the tooltip, and we can go over a spec, or if you have a spec. Oh, I can pull up the WoWhead spec actually, and we can go over like a spec and just talk about the talents and stuff, what's changed, what's big. Yeah,
I've got a big list of changes here. Actually.
Let's get it. Hit it. I'll try to tooltip it as we go.
Can start with the what I think is probably the biggest change for priests in general, and that's the priest racials that everyone either loved or hated are completely gone. So Desperate Prayer is now wholly talent baseline. Devouring Plague is now baseline for all priests, and stuff like Feedback just completely gone. And the Draenei Symbol of Hope is now your level 80 spell, Hymn of Hope. So the very controversial priest racials are gone.
Troll still BiS though.
Troll still BiS,
Oh
but
yeah,
not because of
Troll
Shadow
Mindflay
God.
bugged out still. Oh, okay,
we're not talking about that.
Oh my.
We're not talking about that, dude.
Troll, I do want to mention that Troll Mindflay is bugged. Please stop DMing me and saying my weak auras are broken. No, trolls are broken.
No, trolls just buffed. They're not broken. Don't fix them.
Wait, what's going on with Troll Mindflay?
Nothing.
So Linelo's gonna send me like a knife emote in my DMs, but basically the racial Devoodoo shuffle for trolls reduces the duration of movement impairing effects on the troll by, I think it's 20% or something.
It's 15%.
15%. And there is a very weird interaction with that and Mindflay, because Mindflay is a channeled movement impair on the target. So for some reason, the Voodoo Shuffle reduces the channel duration of Mindflay from 3 seconds to 2.55 seconds, and you get the first tick 1 second, the second tick 2 seconds, and the third tick 2.55 seconds in. So you just skip half a second of Mindflay and get 3 ticks in.
It's not broken, dude. It's just
time.
It's what it should be. That's how it should be for everybody.
You feel
Every Alliance Shadow Priest is
an
probably
obvious
so
difference?
upset right now.
Oh, it's a huge difference.
So it's a huge difference, and also it's kind of weird because the cast bar still shows it as a 3 second channel, but it just stops. 2.5 seconds in, the cast bar just dies, and you get your third tick. It took us a lot of like looking and guessing and that to figure out what was causing that interaction. And I think, if I remember correctly, the person who accidentally guessed it correctly just said it as a joke. It's like, oh, but what if it's the Voodoo Shuffle? It's like, wait, hold on.
You're like, no way. Oh, wow.
Yeah, no,
right.
why would that do it? Oh, crap. Yeah, Snare Gem affects it too, said Cyber, and yes, there's a meta gem that does the same thing as the Troll Racial. So you can reduce it for everyone if you swap meta. But if you use that meta gem on a troll, your Mindflay gets even faster, but it just doesn't do the third tick. So you get like a 2.3 second Mindflay that only hits twice.
Technically, it's a DPS boost, but it is really hard to play around.
Not the meta with troll.
No, yeah, sorry. I just mean troll. Just the reduction in Mindflay channel is mathematically a DPS boost. However, it's hard to play with, so you end up having larger response errors on your queuing of your next ability because you can't queue during a Mindflay. You have to just be really quick reaction time. But then you also have latency between it, so it gets pretty difficult to utilize appropriately. But it still should overall be a DPS boost on troll. Oh. So roll troll, everybody, not just because of the bug, but because it's better.
Even if they fix it, roll troll. Oh, they're gonna fix it. I was genuinely so surprised that it made it to pre-patch. I thought there was no chance. Until the last hour, I was saying, nah, it's not coming in. They're gonna give us an update with pre-patch, and then it made it in, and I'm just mouth to the floor, like, what? How?
Dude, I hope it makes it to Old War. That way I'm stronger in Nax.
What was BiS? I guess we'll talk about races, but was Troll BiS as it was anyway?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Troll's always gonna be BiS.
I got a plot in the theory crafting channel you can look at.
Cool. All right,
just
other changes.
The haste, yeah.
I know Interfire got spell power now, which is big, right?
Yeah, so that's also worth considering that not in pre-patch. The spell power on Interfire comes at level 71 with the new rank of Interfire. It's not just the baseline Interfire gives more spell power. But once you get Wrath ranks of it, more spell power always, never let it drop.
Beautiful.
Other than that, there's
Yeah,
the talent tree is massively changed. Actually, it kind of looks mostly the same, but there are some big changes to a lot of talents. Things like Shadow Weaving isn't stacked on the target anymore; it's stacked on the priest, which actually drastically changes how we play the game. Shadow Form increases all damage, all shadow damage, decreases all damage taken instead of just physical damage taken, and allows your dots to crit, benefit from haste, and I think there's something else with Shadow Form.
Well, another thing, the benefit from crit is huge because it's not just a 1.5x, it's a 2x. So I think that's pretty fat. It's a 100% increase. And then same with the Shadow Power. So Shadow Power is big because it scales the multiplier to a 1.5 to 2x, which is pretty huge for Mind Blast.
And now you being able to crit things that like all just works together really well.
Yeah. The coolest thing, like, we'll get to focus magic discussion potentially, but it's really, really, really big on Shadow Priest with all of the crit you can do. And it also has one of the quickest turnaround on the crit for the mage.
There you go. I know that.
Yeah, it's really big.
There's also Twisted Faith, which gives you spell power based on your spirit, and then there's also Spirit Tap is now split into two talents. Spirit Tap, which is the old regular one basically, and then Improved Spirit Tap, which is an in-combat proc instead of on a killing blow. And so those two combined give you a lot of spell power from your spirit.
Okay.
Not to interrupt you, Pash, another big change that I think is huge for Shadow Priest that not really discussed too much is the range on Mind Flay. Before, you would always see a stupid Shadow Priest standing in something like, why the hell are you standing so close? I was like, well, I fucking can't Mind Flay. What do you want me to do?
I love
Now,
the
the
twins.
range is increased, so we can actually be back with the real casters and still be able to cast all our spells, which is
That's
huge.
actually huge. Yeah, Shadow
Yeah,
Priest used to
it's
have to
crazy.
like dodge mechanics that other people would always ignore.
Yeah, or sit there and wand or look like an idiot. I mean, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite is like, my tank isn't bringing twins within Mind Flay range. Should I just
Dude,
wand?
oh my
Like,
god.
no, you should probably just like AFK the entire fight. Why are
Yeah,
you
or
even
tell your
trying?
fucking tank to scoot up, dude. Jesus.
Yeah,
That's so
that's
funny.
terrible. So many that impacted so many fights in such bizarre ways, and like every map, like Google Sheets layout for the raid. There's always like the DPS is the sword, the range DPS is the bow, and then there's Shadow Priest as their own little thing because they need their own special spot.
What was it? 24 yards. And,
Yeah, 20 yards baseline,
Yeah.
24 with talents.
easy.
Now it's 30 baseline, 36 with talents. And
Yeah,
which
it's not
also
like it was,
everything
like-
is the same.
Yeah, it's not like Mind Flare was our highest damaging spell by a decent margin in single target in TBC, you know? I mean, that's only amplified in Wrath, but the issues that we've had, obviously, in TBC, whether it's guild to guild, you know, things like range, or just having to dodge mechanics, it's crazy that we've had to deal with that, and it's literally our highest damaging ability.
Yeah, it's sad, dude. Now we're good. Now they helped us out there, but they ruined us other places, so it is what it is, I guess.
What about Psychic Horror?
You can only ask for so
anything
much.
kinky with Psychic Horror,
Yeah.
bro?
No, nothing
Man, I love
special
it.
in
I
raids that
love this.
I've noticed. But it's such a good spell. It's just one
Yeah.
talent point for a 3-second horror and a 10-second disarm. It's absolutely nuts for PvP. I just wish there was any use in PvE.
Yeah.
Maybe there is. Maybe
Does-
there's something I don't know.
There's got to be like a mechanic where something needs to like run somewhere and you can stop them or like, you know.
Horror. Oh
Disarm?
yeah.
Yeah, though the disarm could be absolutely useful in the DK wing in Nex.
There you go.
Looks like you have to bring a Shadow Priest now. There we go.
I think
We found
actually,
it.
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot
good,
of
guys.
DKs
It's
in there too, so you need a few Shadow Priests for that wing, to be honest.
Well, that's also, it keeps going with the same downside of Silence, because Silence could have been good in TBC as well, but it has such a long cooldown, so you can't use it as often as you'd need any interrupt. So, and it's the same with Psychic Horror, right? It's a 2-minute cooldown, so it's not up often enough to actually be useful on trash.
And you gotta get Psychic Screen, Imp Psychic just to be able to get Silence. That's just one of my complaints. If you needed it.
Oh yeah, Silence is 3 points for a
Yeah, bro,
not
it's
great
crazy.
PvE spell. Psychic Horror, you can easily drop like 1 point in something to get Psychic Horror. That's not a problem.
Another big change is what is it? The Twisted Faith. Is that where you get the Mind Flay. So you put up Shadow Word Pain.
Pain and Suffering.
Okay, yeah, sorry. And then Mind Flay will allow you to refresh your Shadow Word Pain without actually altering your tick durations. So all you're doing is essentially not having to recast Shadow Word Pain. So it's similar to what is it, Quick Decay or what's the Warlock?
Everlasting Affliction.
Yeah, Everlasting Affliction. Except you don't have to worry. Well, no, it's the same. So yeah, Everlasting Affliction is a town, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Instead
So it's
of
exactly
Mind
the
Flay,
same as
Shadow Bolts
Lock.
and stuff, yeah.
Yep.
This is like, I love this. Which we can obviously, you guys will touch on the snapshotting part of it, but that's one of my favorite things ever is the balance, the weaving it in, trying to make sure you have stacks up and keeping it up and not letting it drop.
I mean, it's a super rad idea, right? But it's not the same. You don't have the same emphasis on it as you do with Corruption, because Corruption for Warlocks is just one of your largest DPS abilities over the entire fight. For Shadow Priest, even if you get your perfect snapshot of all of the buffs you would ever care about, Shadow Word Pain is such a shit spell that, I mean, 15% on top of shit still shit. So, it's not.
Damn, is it really not like?
It's so weak.
well?
Wasn't it,
It
like
doesn't
phenomenal
nearly as strong as
in
Corruption.
TBC? Was like the highest.
Oh yeah, it was huge in TBC. Yeah, huge in TBC. Then it got completely demolished in Wrath, and then it doesn't even scale by haste. So it's nice that you don't have to cast it again, and it does add DPS, right? And without having to use extra GCDs. But it's so shit that people worry so much about crit swapping and making sure I have each percent buff on it. But it's like you're not even gonna notice if you fuck up one Mind Flay in your whole rotation, that's gonna be more of a hit than getting the perfect snapshot.
That's crazy. That's crazy how impactful that is. Because I thought the snapshot was really important for Shadow Priest from like an outside perspective.
It's kind of an odd thing because I have my doubts that you'd even want to cast Shadow Word Pain if it wasn't refreshed like this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Really? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's just how weak it is as a dot now compared to before, where it genuinely was one of your most impactful spells. And for what it's worth, for J Priest in the chat, the way it refreshes is it just sets the duration back to max. So if there's 2 seconds left before it ticks, it'll still be 2 seconds left before it ticks. It doesn't change the space between ticks at all. It doesn't interrupt ticks.
Oh, so you can't clip it.
Yeah, you can't clip it.
Yeah, you won't
when
clip
you refresh
it,
it with
yeah.
Mind Flay, it'll just set the duration back to full. That's all it does.
That's actually pretty important too. So that's like, yeah, that's just like nice extra damage. So that it's cool.
It's a free
I think
global.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
What
yeah.
do you have to? What do you have to do to refresh it? What is
Mind Flay.
You literally
talent.
just Mind Flay.
It's a talent.
You just play.
You never have to think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's
like
always
a Warlock.
gonna be up.
All right.
And like for it to actually drop off, you'd have to not Mind Flay for like 18 seconds or something.
So
curious.
essentially get G kicked.
I'm curious on like, I'll use the example of 4 Horsemen, how you stack 3 of them. I would like say I'm dotting up all 3 of the mobs. Do you just keep that pain off targets refreshed from the Mind Flay, or do you actually repain?
I wouldn't even waste GCDs
It's
on
not even
pain.
worth
No,
it,
I
right?
I would
didn't
just
know that it was that bad.
Maybe I wouldn't.
Just keep a VT.
And
Yeah.
especially on free targets, you don't want to ever have to Mind Flay because
Oh my god, that'd be so terrible. Yeah. Put up VT. Maybe put Devouring Plague on one of your targets. Probably the target you're gonna click for Mind Seer, and then just Mind Seer.
What is
If that's what you guys are
is
doing.
Mind Seer the breakpoint 3 targets?
So I'm still working on. So I'm working on adding AOE capability to the sim. I have Mind Seer in there, but I don't have dot rotations optimally in there yet. But what I'd say right now is if it's 4 targets or less, then you can dot them all up and then Mind Seer. If it's more, then you just go straight to Mind Seer. That's I hate to say feels crafty. There's some back of the envelope math, but the sim for the AOE is not finished yet, so it's not perfect right now.
Totally fair. It's good to know though, so everyone knows
How
your
good
AOE rotation.
Mount Hydel is now. Probably love Mount Hydel now. Well, they probably die so
Well,
fast.
but we don't get Mind Seer until later.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mine's is 75.
71,
But
75.
75, yeah. But Holy
The
Nova
most
is baseline
awesome-
now.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah,
have
Holy
to
Nova
spec into
still.
Holy Nova.
Yeah, it's fucking. So I actually dual spec'd in a Holy Nova spec for pre-patch. So for like Mount High Draw or getting all these DKs, their gear, I'm gonna pop off with Holy Nova because your talent increases, not talent, the glyph increases it by 20%, and then you have a talent that increases it by 10% more. So it actually ends up doing quite a bit of AOE, and
Yeah,
it doesn't
also
cost
does,
as much mana.
It also gives 0 threat, even for damage, so you can just start pumping with Holy Nova.
Yeah, you don't have to hold back at all. Yep. Yeah. So that's my dual spec right now.
That's kind of nice, actually. Yeah. Oh yeah, dispersion. What the juicy new spell
Oh, I mean, it's cool.
Version is...
for PvP.
I
I guess.
love
You guys,
dispersion.
yeah.
No, I love it for PvE.
I love
I'm
it for
I'm a
PvE.
dispersion
It's
simp.
your mana, but me too. It's your mana.
Only between trash packs, dude. If I hate having
but
to
that's
even
it.
consider it using
Yeah.
it for a boss.
You're mid,
Don't
yeah.
wa-
You're
you
mid
don't wanna
casting.
have
You
to
gotta
use
use
it
it.
on a
I hate
boss.
myself.
Dude, it just feels so bad having to do
But
that.
if you're like if you are speedrunning, or even if you're just trying to go fast in any capacity, right? Just being able to go into dispersion between trash packs or towards the end of a pack, and just be set. Just never have to worry about your mana again. And with the glyph of dispersion, it's a 1 minute 15-second cooldown. You can press that button so often, and if you're running out of mana every minute, then something else is wrong.
You can cast it while stunned, feared, or silenced, and it clears all snare and movement impairing effects when you cast it.
You can also cast it while mounted. It doesn't dismount you.
I love it.
You can cast it on flight paths for some reason.
When the CD resets, you can use it at the end of a boss and get 2 back as well. Look at that.
Yeah, that actually feels pretty good. Like using it during a fight feels like shit.
Yeah, it's ass. But pretty much,
But
I feel like
also
you shouldn't
using
have to ever. Like Thaddeus is a long one, but I don't remember ever
Yeah.
having to use it. Yeah.
You shouldn't. No, definitely
Using
not.
it to dodge a mechanic though does actually feel really satisfying. Like a meteor coming for you, press dispersion, and you just like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, but I want to see
one
those.
of the best feelings.
I want to see those
Barbarian,
parse
firewall.
numbers.
Well, Sarthe
I'd
and
rather-
Firewall, you can just eat it, not have to move. Just pop it, and then, cancel or out of it.
It's good for like fights like Illidan, for example, when he flies up in the air and you can't even target him. Then you can just
There's
dispersion.
nothing else you can do.
Yeah, gain some.
What
And
is-
that's the best time to use it.
Can you read out the tooltip really quick, Crix, so I know everything it does?
You disperse into pure shadow energy, reducing all damage taken by 90%. You are unable to attack or cast any spells, but you regenerate 6% mana every 1 second for 6 seconds. Dispersion can be cast while stunned, feared, or silenced, and clears all snare and movement impairing effects when cast. It makes you immune to them while dispersed.
Does that does the mana regen change at all in combat or out of combat by chance?
No, it's
It's
just-
just
it's just
6%
base.
every, yeah.
Yeah. And is it
You
off of
notice it.
base?
You definitely
base or
notice
is it
it.
off?
It's base, I think. You
Mhm.
guys know more than that one. I'm not sure about that. Is it base? I think so.
it's total. I think it's total mana.
Yeah, that's
6%
awesome.
total.
That's fucking sick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of mana. And like if you are using it regularly, you will never run out of mana. Like that, there's no chance.
Literally no mana.
The only argument is you don't want to use it ideally because it's a DPS loss.
Yeah. 'cause
And
you're
we're
not
in the
pumping
Warcraft
well.
log meta, so you gotta be keeping up, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of time in Nax where there's a lot of time when you're just running and you have time to do it with no problem.
Oh yeah, between
absolutely
trash
no
packs,
issues.
it's fine.
You mentioned Thaddeus before. Even after Fugan and Starlight for the jump, you don't lose any movement speed using it. Just press dispersion and do the jump and go to Thaddeus with full mana.
Jumping's easy.
You know this jump that you can literally just walk over.
I'm just waiting for me to fall off of it. I figure if we make it till we have rocket boots, we never will. But
Yeah.
Sarthe, at least he didn't fall twice in a row. All right, what else is new? What else we got here, guys?
I mean, Shadowfiend pumps now. I mentioned that
there you go.
earlier. I mean, it scales way better. It can snapshot a shit ton of abilities. It scales with, Bloodlust, Icy Talons, Hunter's Mark. I mean, anything that a pet normally would, it scales with. It ends up on, 90-second to 120-second fights being, higher than Shadow Word Pain as you DPS, and it only lasts for 15 seconds. It's pretty insane. It crits. I mean, it gives back a shit ton of mana. It's honestly one of your best DPS abilities. And in rotations for short fights, if you're going to lust on pull, I recommend actually casting it first over pre-casting, like Vampiric Touch, for example. It's just insane damage.
It's also worth mentioning that something that's not even mentioned on the tooltip for Shadowfiend, it's not mentioned anywhere. It has a spell now. It has Shadow Crawl, which is basically just Shadow Step. And you can manually cast that, and whatever it Shadow Crawls to takes more damage from the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah,
So it's no
15%.
longer-
awesome.
15% damage.
Yeah, and it can just instantly swap target if you use Shadow Crawl. If you don't instacast it when you summon it, you've got a teleport to swap target whenever you need.
I like that it goes at the feet of the boss. You don't have to actually put it there, like trance or something. What do you think, Picker Embrace? Anything change on that?
Vampiric Embrace. Yeah, no, I don't agree. I don't agree. It used to be you used to have to spend a global to debuff the boss for a minute to heal your party for 15 to 25% of your damage dealt. Now it heals you for 15% of the damage dealt and your party for 3% of the damage dealt. But it's a 30-minute self buff, so it is always up. You will always have Vampiric Embrace on every fight. You don't have to spend a global using it, you don't have to refresh it, and it will be up on all targets you DPS. But at the same time, yeah, it's a lot less healing for your party. So, pros.
A lot more convenient, kind of.
A lot more convenient, and yeah, it's always up. It's always benefiting you, at least.
What about Shadow or Death? I heard it was OP and you keep it on cooldown. What about that? Why don't you? What's up with this? Did you keep this on cooldown in TBC?
Yes.
Yes.
What changed with it to make it so you don't? Unless it was just ass. And
everything else got stronger.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean that was the big thing. Is the big difference in rotation philosophy for Shadow Priest between TBC and Wrath, and this actually made the most difficult aspects of updating the sim between TBC and Wrath, is how to handle Mind Flay, because it's no longer a filler spell. In TBC, you literally would use all your cooldowns, and in between waiting for those to come back up or dot reapplications, you would cast Mind Flay, and you would try to optimize the number of ticks that you could fit between a cast window, which is why you have clipping, right? But in Wrath, Mind Flay just fucking pumps. So does Mind Blast, so do your dots. But now you have to really think about, in this cast window between these two dot applications, if I only have some amount of X number of seconds, how can I optimize the amount of DPS in that window? And for using Shadow or Death, it's really only if you have to fill like a GCD window. I have some plots that we could show in the Theory Crafting channel if you want to bring that up, but there's specific spell power and haste percentage windows where you would want to use Mind Flay over Shadow or Death, or you'd want to use Shadow or Death over Mind Flay. And I actually have a plot that shows in a timeline where do those haste and spell power windows align, where you would actually want to use Shadow or Death to fill that gap. So it's a lot more complicated. And I would say if you read through the Priest Discord, 95+% of the players are probably just going to remove it from their rotation, because it's it's realistically like a 30 to 50 DPS increase if you use it properly. But if you fuck it up, you could actually reduce your DPS, right? So you want to be careful how you're using it if you don't fully understand when it's necessary, or if you haven't perfected the usage of it. Cyberquack, though, I was looking through his logs, and he did a really good job of utilizing it. So it's definitely something that a human can do to improve their DPS. It's just it might not be for everybody. So don't kill yourself trying to figure out when the best time to use it. But if you can figure it out, you'll gain some DPS pretty much.
It is worth mentioning though. Shadow Priests have very limited movement options. We've got 2 instant cast direct damage spells. One of them is Shadow or Death, and the other is Talented Devouring Plague. So if you're ever moving, Shadow or Death immediately is your best option if you don't need to refresh dots.
You can't really refresh them while you're running around. Oh, DP, yeah.
Yeah, DP at least.
It can only be on one target for those that want.
Oh yeah, DP, yeah.
Let's see what else we got here.
Devouring Plague. Also worth mentioning is used to be undead only on a long cooldown and cost a lot of mana.
Now it's mana.
Yeah, it's something insane, like 1200 mana.
Oh, it's still pretty beefy.
Now it's 25% of your base mana, but that slowly gets
25%. Oh, base though.
yeah,
Base.
yeah, base.
Yeah.
And it can only be on one target, but other than that, it does the generally the same thing. It does damage over time, ticks every 3 seconds, scales with crit, scales with haste, and heals you for a bit of the damage done.
And does a little bit of damage off with the talent, like you said.
Yeah, if you spec into Improved Devouring Plague, it deals 30% of its instant damage immediately. And it also, it's worth mentioning, it is a disease, so in TBC at least, a lot of mechanical targets are immune to it, like Fel Reaver, for example. And also, Pestilence does not spread it, despite private server knowledge from a lot of people. Pestilence does not spread Devouring Plague.
Yeah, all the giants or whatever they are in mechanical things in halls of stone and lightning.
Oh, I wonder if Uldwar X2.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do.
I tried looking that up. I googled it, and Google literally told me that it couldn't find any results for disease immune X002. So I think we're gold. I think they just scrapped that in Wrath because Death Knights do so much diseases that making some bosses disease immune would just be such a meme.
Adding a hero class that sucks.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Oh my god.
I'm kidding. What else we got here? Yeah, it looks like I don't think there's anything new. That's it for the new stuff, huh? What? Let's go over.
There's
what
also
about? Go ahead.
One thing worth mentioning: Shadow Priests finally have pushback protection. Improved Shadow Form gives, I can't remember the exact percent, but it gives pushback protection. So you finally are actually able to cast if things are hitting you.
Yeah, that is one thing I noticed from I think I leveled this priest from 70 to 80 on the beta, and Cyber was in here telling me what talents to pick. He's like, don't worry, you're not gonna have any pushback. I'm like, bro, I'm leveling. All I'm gonna get is pushback. He's like, no, don't trust me. You're not gonna get it. And I would sit there and just dot everything in the world up and be a priest, and I would never have one bit of knockback ever. It was crazy. And it was a lot of fun.
Definitely feels
too.
good.
So nice. Shadow Priest leveling is so fun. I love it.
Dude, Shadow Priest leveling was as fun and almost as fast as it was as a warlock. It was crazy. Like, you just die and its dispersion and everything was dead. It was kind of crazy, and I had no gear on too, so it was.
Yeah,
I can only imagine,
there were
like, some
people
warriors.
people were testing in just like the boosted 70 gear on the beta, and they were just absolutely blasting through. Never ran out of mana. Could kill literally 50 mobs in a row, and never have to worry about mana.
Yeah,
Actually, a really nice leveling class then.
Oh, it's a phenomenal.
like a
Out of
change.
all the
I
casters I leveled, this was my yeah, this is like my favorite one.
I think
it was so smooth. It was
I think
like
Warlock's
effortless.
pretty
Yeah. It was
Shadow is
effortless.
definitely a top tier leveling spec. It's absolutely up there with the best of them.
Yep.
I mean, another note on the talents. In TBC, you could vary certain talents to either optimize your hit perfectly, optimize your mana usage, or optimize your damage. You usually had to sacrifice one thing or another to do that. In Wrath, that's not really the case. There's pretty much a standardized set of talents that you're going to take for raiding. You're not going to have to sacrifice anything to gain anything. You're going to pretty much grab all the things you need, and then that's it. So it makes it a lot easier for new players to pick it up. You can just go to a single guide and it tells you exactly what you need to do.
And another thing on talents, of all things, improved Fade now reduces the cooldown of Shadowfiend as well, which is obviously great because 5 minutes is quite a long time, and of course it pumps now.
Improved Fate anymore though. It's Veiled Shadows.
It's the same thing.
It's improved Fade, dude. Come on.
Yeah, it is the same. It used to be that.
It's the same icon.
Which
it
what
is.
makes it do that? Is that imp?
Veiled Shadow just reduces the cooldown of Shadowfiend.
No, yeah, but imp Shadow Form makes it so your Fade ability has a 100% chance to remove all movement and parrying effects, while in Shadow Form, which I love personally.
Yeah.
That while in Shadow Form becomes a key thing for Shadow Priest though, because everything is while in Shadow Form. Like you never want to be without it.
Except when you're doing hymns, right?
It pulls you out automatically.
Hymn of Hope is disc, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, but I think he pulls you out when you use it.
Nah, only holy spells pull you out of form.
Cyberquack in chat, if you're listening, did him bring you out of form?
Literally right now. Him brought me out of form.
Oh yeah, check it out.
Okay, fair enough.
Both hymns.
Oh yeah, it's in the holy tree. Okay. For some reason I thought only divine was in holy.
It's like a little musician for some reason.
It looks
yeah.
cool, but it drops your DPS, which doesn't look cool on the meters.
Significantly, yeah. Significantly. When they ask for that hymn, you're like, oh, really?
Yeah, you got to be the homie. But I mean, maybe that's why they bring you. So you do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's how you make your argument, huh? Did you guys want to touch on, this is the raid build I have pulled up from your WoWhead guide? Is there anything that you wanted to touch on it in terms of a rating thing?
No, not really. There's not much to say about it. The only thing is, there's a few questions that get asked regularly about it, and primarily it's, do we not need, is it Shadow Focus, the threat reduction talent in Tier 2 of Shadow? And no, we don't
Shadow
need,
Affinity.
We don't need. Yeah, Shadow Affinity. We don't need threat reduction anymore.
No threat
There's
issues
no point.
at all.
Yeah, no threat issues at all. That's not going to be a problem. Never worry about that in PvE.
You might see them wink at you when you mind sear everything for 2 seconds, and then they'll immediately go to whoever else was next.
Yeah, pretty much. And then there's Focus Mind, which you run 2 out of 3 points in. You can drop those, put them in Improved Vampiric Embrace, put one in Psychic Horror. You can move them around if you don't need the mana from it. It's Tier 5 next to Vampiric Embrace.
Yeah, I think the way I would go back and forth is the improved shadow form. So early on in pre-patch, when you have shit gear and you're really getting into Nax, I think mana could potentially be an issue, especially as people are starting to learn their class. So you could go 1 out of 2 in improved shadow form, and then go 3 out of 3 in focus mind. But I'd say as you get gear and as people start clearing stuff, you're not going to need the extra mana.
Pretty obvious. I mean, kind of just taking everything from Shadow that does damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Every talent, every talent we've taken because it's a damage increase. There are no dead talents anymore, and it's so nice.
And there's not like a spec between more AoE and more single target, because almost every class has that. That's so nice for you.
Yeah, this spec does everything. Like there is no change you can make that would increase your raid DPS output.
Talk about how bad inner focus is now. What changed?
I don't think it's
the
that
same
bad.
thing, right? Yeah.
It's not, but nothing really changed. It's just
I like to use it with my seer or something like that, you know?
Yeah, use it with Seer or Mindflay. That's the most optimal thing to do, because you can get that crit percentage on those ticks.
I know a lot of people talk about using it for Shadowword Pain, and a lot of the guides I found from either from way back when or from some of the less great current guide websites said use it with Shadowword Pain to get that crit chance on all your ticks, and that just doesn't work. It does not apply.
I wish it applied. I was testing beta for hours, like, all right, maybe this one, maybe this time. No, it just doesn't work, dude.
I like it with that, or like a mind flay on single target.
Yeah, use it early on your mind flay on single target, and then hopefully it's up again to do it again. It's not a huge. I mean, you barely notice the DPS change, but it's definitely a slight increase, which is nice.
I feel like when you snap it with the mind seer, you'll feel it a little bit, but single target you don't.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, the huge pack.
I guess the one thing also worth mentioning is Twin Disciplines, the first talent in Discipline, does affect your dots. It does affect the damage of Shadowword Pain. It does affect the damage of Devouring Plague.
Yeah, all instant spells, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so even the ticks are affected by that damage increase.
That's dope. I didn't know that. I thought it was more like a Genesis thing. I like it. Next up would be it's about Shadowword Pain. Snapshotting, whatever you guys want to talk about the snapshotting part of it.
All right, you two have fun. This is numbers.
I mean, it's numbers, but it's. I was touching on it earlier. There's a lot of things you could attempt to snapshot. It's similar to how you would want to handle corruption, right? You could do the crit swapping. You could do the tricks of the trade and stuff, but it's a low DPS number, so I don't want any. I mean, if you want to try to perfect this, it's good, right? But I don't want any Shadow Priest listening to only worry about making sure they get this perfect, because it's not going to really drive your end DPS. But anyway, the things that it snapshots, one of the biggest things that Shadow Priest should be concerned with before they apply Shadowword Pain is Shadow Weaving, because it's a self buff. So what you want to do, and this is a fight length dependent thing, but what you really want to do is make sure you maximize your Shadow Weaving stacks to 5 before you cast Shadowword Pain, because when you refresh it with your Mind Flay, it's going to maintain that buff throughout the fight. So what the shadow weaving does is increases your shadow damage, as Crix is showing, by 10%. So you get that throughout the fight, which is pretty huge. So the reason I say that this is a fight length dependent thing, though, is because if you cast Shadow Word Pain before your initial Mind Flays, you actually get an increase in your percent damage on those casts, and you could potentially get an extra tick over the fight length, such that that 10% might not outweigh putting Shadow Word Pain up earlier. So I actually have a plot in a theory crafting channel of the Discord, which shows at what fight length do you want to put up Shadow Word Pain at 5, put Shadow Word Pain at 5 weaving versus 3 weaving, and it will actually try to optimize your DPS for that. And the sim does all this math for you. I think the Shadow Priest is probably the only sim right now that is DPS optimal. So it's actually running on every GCD. What is the highest DPS spell I can use right now as a function of some cast window? So it's not really a priority based. So you can use the sim to figure out what's the best rotation I can do to optimize my DPS.
Can you say off the top of your head, do you know around what fight length
optimizes? It's around 90 seconds. Can I share my screen? What's the best way to get to the Discord to look at these plots?
I think just
send me the link.
link it in the link in the chat and they can put it up.
Link the Discord or link the
whatever.
No, link the chart, the plots.
Okay.
I was trying to link them, but you have so many plots in that chat. I'm
yeah.
overwhelmed trying to figure out which one. Real theory crafting in the Shadow Priest Discord.
Got you in there.
You thought Feral would.
Called theory
crafting?
Great.
I didn't pin that one.
You have to go into theory crafting to get a roll.
1 minute. Check.
Yeah, but that's cool. Like that like fight length literally changes that part of the rotation. Like when you get your dot up and when you keep it up. And that's actually like really exciting. Like,
there you go.
Yeah. So what you have here, where'd it go? Yeah. So what you have here, the y-axis is fight length. And so what this is essentially calculating is if your fight length is less than some number shown here, then you'll want to cast Shadow Word Pain third in your rotation. And it's a function of your haste percentage, actually, because it depends on how many casts can you actually get post the Shadow Word Pain cast. So this is telling you, I mean, this is again because Shadow Word Pain is such a weak spell, that actually getting 5 weaving stacks and the extra percent is actually lower than using other GCDs during that fight. And actually getting, so I guess one thing I'm leaving out is when you have Shadow Word Pain up, you get an increase in your Mind Flay damage. So if you get it up earlier, the extra Mind Flays you're going to get in your rotation after putting Shadow Word Pain up is going to be increased in damage. And that actually ends up being more than the increase in damage from the Shadow Word Pain over the fight length.
It's crazy how it's like low-key not that great of a spell.
Yeah, it sucks, dude. But what you'll see is around the 50% GCD cap. So
for not that great of a spell, it has been the subject of the vast majority of Shadow Priest theory crafting.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
That spell has taken so much time from some of the smart people in that play Shadow Priest. It's actually insane.
Yeah, there's so many add-ons and weak auras around. How can I get the perfect snapshot? But don't worry about it. Like people I keep getting
TBC is so weird to be like it's ass now.
Yeah, I did some math for the Warlocks on crit swapping weapons and how much DPS you get, and it ended up being a pretty, I say decent. It was like 15 DPS if you crit swapped on your corruption. But for Shadow Priest, it's like 1 DPS. It's not even worth it. Yeah.
I thought it'd be way worth it coming from a Warlock brain. I thought it'd be way worth it.
That's the issue, is a lot of this comes from the idea of corruption being so strong. So people want to expect that Shadow Word Pain is the Shadow Priest's corruption. Unfortunately, it's not. It is in some aspects, but from a damage perspective, it's not.
It is in the snapshotting aspect. That's about it.
I mean, I could go through, there's a whole list in the Shadow Priest Discord of all of the buffs you can potentially snapshot, including buffs from Nax and buffs from other abilities. Let me see if I can find that list.
It snapshots your crit and your damage percentage, so it's anything.
Yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah,
it's anything in the game that will give you some damage like a Curse of Elements, Earth and Moon, you know, a Tricks of the Trade if you somehow fandangle that as a Shadow
Is that the
Priest.
same for Warlock? Is the exact same?
Shadow
You don't get, like,
besides
spell
damage,
damage, but
corruption, and
damage
spell powers,
percentage?
corruption and Shadow Repair are the same fucking thing. Besides damage, they just literally you can snapshot the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Like
only
any
the only big thing to consider is that it is only snapshotting percent damage increases. It does not snapshot something like Demonic Pact or Flame Tongue Totem.
Spell power.
Any direct spell power increase does not get snapshot and will be refreshed every time you cast Mind Flay.
So it's like, you know, Thaddeus buffs, Spores
Yeah, I
from
guess that-
Gluth or whatever that boss is. Malgo Sparks.
Yep,
Iron
fungal creep.
Council. You know, the power runes on Iron Council. Anything that you do that gives you damage, more damage, not spell power, but actual damage, like a Curse of Elements or 10%, 13%. I'm sorry now. Stuff like that. A Destro potion, the crit on a Destro potion, or think ahead.
That also
wild magic.
Well, that also adds a certain requirement to figure out what you want to use as a pre-pot compared to what you use during a fight. You might want to use Potion of Speed during a fight, but pre-potting Destro or Wild Magic will give you that effect on your Shadow Word Pain.
I think the same goes for pre-pot and wild magic. A lot of people are going to want to lust early. I'm not sure what the next meta is going to be, but specifically in the beta, you're going to be lusting pretty early. Or not beta, sorry, pre-patch. And if you pre-pot Destro or what's going to be wild magic, you're also going to want to cast your Shadowfiend, and it's going to get that extra crit on there, which actually ends up being really good. It doesn't scale with the haste if you did a speed. And anyway, you'll probably be
so
GCD
that you get a
capped.
double snap,
That's dope.
right? Like a little double snapshot then.
You know that.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe I'm not understanding what you're
I
saying.
think it means
so-
out of the
so-
potion. The potion snapping.
Yeah, the potion
double snapping.
both to your Shadowfiend and
Oh,
to
yeah.
your
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
snapshotting on multiple things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sorry for the confusion.
No, that's fine. But I guess I'll say, Shadow Priest, don't ask for Tricks of the Trade. It's not worth it on your Shadow Word Pain. Let the locks have it. It's not parsing anyway. Locks definitely should be getting the first tricks. It makes no sense to give it to anyone else, honestly.
Yeah.
The second tricks
cool
is a
to think about
discussion.
tricks, but it's just not
Yeah,
what
what
that's not
about,
a hill worth dying on.
What about PI for Shadow Priest? How's that feeling?
It's pretty good. I mean, it's good after you're done with your other haste cooldowns, right? After Lust, if you don't have Speed Pot up, it's nice to have the PI. It's nice to have it when you have those up as well, but doesn't get the full benefit, especially if you're pretty high haste with your gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely good.
Yeah. What about Focus Magic since we're on buffs? You mentioned it earlier. You can
Yeah,
touch on it if you'd
for
like to.
phase 1, Shadow Priest out of all of the simming has had the highest DPS from Focus Magic. On the later phases, the highest is Fire Mage for sure, but I don't know if we're going to have any Fire Mages in phase 1. So phase 1, it's looking like the DPS breakdown is Shadow Priest, then it's followed by Boomkin Arcane, then it's followed by Warlocks, with a pretty sizable gap between the locks and the next level class, which was surprising to me. I guess I'm a Shadow Priest here, and I wrote the sim, right? So I'm not trying to just fake the numbers. People can go off and run them. It was pretty surprising that Shadow Priest. Well, I mean, surprising is the wrong word. We scale from crit so well, right? We have all of our dots scale from crit. We have Mind Flay, which is critting just a shit ton number of times in small amount of windows. It's really good for us. It ends up being about 200 DPS increase with Focus Magic in phase 1 BiS.
Really good. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Priest, you heard it here, bro. Shadow Priest propaganda. Hey, shit, run it to him.
Well, yeah, if you bring a Shadow Priest in next, give him Focus Magic.
Let him slap.
I like that. If you bring them,
Yeah,
then they can get the Focus Magic.
yeah. If you don't bring him, it's probably Boomkin. I'd say is the next in line. So that's pretty much the Shadow Word Pain discussion. Snapshot the stuff you can. I expect that there's going to be. I've seen a few weak ores already going out, and a few add-ons trying to, not estimate, but keep track of what have you snapshot and if it's better to reapply. I would never ever tell someone to waste a GCD mid-fight to reapply for a small increase in the Shadow War Pain, just due to the fact that it's not like corruption. It's not gonna push your DPS overall up that much, if at all, because you're gonna be wasting the GCD on something that could go to a Mind Flay or something more impactful on your actual DPS. So get as much as you can early on, and then I wouldn't worry about tracking or trying to figure out when's the best time to put it up again, because you should just refresh it.
Dope.
with your Mind Flay.
All right. Well, next
Do
it looks
Shadow-
like. Oh, go ahead.
I was just curious. Sorry. Does Shadow Priest have any mana issues whatsoever? Like they're not in contention for that innervate whatsoever, right?
No, absolutely not.
What the
Okay.
fuck?
Yeah, don't give us innervate.
So
I just want to make
it
sure
would
anyone
just-
watching.
I'm
or
talking
listening
literally
just has
no mana
every
issues
idea.
at all. Holding W the entire
just
time.
Just baseline Shadow Priest. Like if you don't use any cooldowns, Shadow Priest still has really good mana efficiency. And then you throw in Shadowfiend giving you a ton of mana, and if you ever need it, Dispersion giving you a ton of mana, and then again, if you ever need it, Hymn of Hope giving you a ton of mana. If you are running out of mana as a Shadow Priest, you are actively trying to run out of mana.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
how would
you're
you even,
doing
you
something
just
wrong.
Spamming Seer. I don't even know how you do that. It's crazy. Yeah, it'd be hard to run out of mana.
Well, then you got replenishment too, right?
Yeah.
Keep
All the
replenishment going.
Mana
Yeah.
potion if you really needed it.
Yeah, if you needed it for sure.
What about you just said it, Hymn of Hope and Divine Hymn? When's the best time to pop him, you think? Is it one of those raid leader things, or is there an optimal time and you think there is?
So for the most part, it's always just going to be, hey, raid leader called for them, use them, and then you've still got 2 priests, right? So you've got at least 2 priests. So it might not even be you using them. It might be better for the disc priest to use them. But that's mostly going to be a raid leader thing. But you can use your own personal judgment for any break in a fight, right? Say Sapphiron when you're hiding behind the ice. Maybe use one there. If you're not going to need it elsewhere, you can get a few ticks before it's time to pop out again.
I mean, you could potentially give it if you're in a mage group and they run out of mana, you could pop it, help them out, right? So. I know Cyber was using it in some of his fights. I haven't played enough on the Nax to understand when's the best time to personally use it, but maybe he could throw in a comment in chat if he has any input.
It's also it's raid wide, isn't it? It's not just group wide. It's just raid wide smart mana restore.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what
called
group you're
for
in.
before in like a maybe not like when you're doing like very fast Naxes. So far, I've heard it called for in like when you're like 2 healing Nax 25 in a speed run or something, right? So it seems like a really useful cooldown if that's the case.
It's fantastic, but there's no like right time to use it. You use it when the raid leader calls for it. It's always going to be a DPS loss for you to use it mid fight, unless for some reason the fight has a big gap in it.
Yeah.
What about, you mentioned it earlier, but a couple people talked about it. When's the best time to use Shadowfiend? How do you snapshot it? How does that work with the Shadowfiend? Well, Shadowfiend BiS usage.
I mean, for my opinion, it should be used as a DPS ability. It's really, really, really strong. So what I'm going to be doing personally, and what I do in the sim to maximize DPS, is I use it first as the first ability I use after pre-pot. And then I will go. So a lot of people would want to precast VT, right? But you want it. Well, I say first, as in if the raid uses Bloodlust first. So you want to use it before Bloodlust. That's key. So I guess I'm still in the mentality of you Bloodlust on pull pretty much, but I'm not sure what the next meta is going to be.
Oh, so it does not snapshot your haste. It takes the haste of the Bloodlust when it's used.
Yeah, and I see talents
itself.
Yeah, see, that's a big distinction that I actually understood incorrectly because I thought it snapshotted all of your buffs that you have them, just like a Death Knight. So that's like a very different than Death Knights in particular.
Yeah, that's the Death Knight gargoyle scaling is unique to Death Knights pretty much.
Yeah. Shadowfiend benefits from like the AP percent modifiers, melee crit modifiers, melee haste modifiers. You want to get it right before lust. It does scale with your spell power. So if you pop a potion or you have a trinket that's popped, you want to try to get it with that. I mean, just Lust by itself, simming DPS wise, it's about like 150 DPS increase just to get your Shadowfiend lusted, which is pretty big considering how long the duration of Shadowfiend is relative to some of the fight links. So it's pretty big to get those on there.
How long does Shadowfiend last?
15. Is it 15 seconds?
I want to say it's 15 seconds. Yeah.
I can look right now. Yeah, 15 seconds.
Nice. Very.
For what it's worth, it's also then very important that you don't let your Shadowfiend die. Not for mana reasons. But it's a DPS cooldown that can die, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, but I guess for I haven't personally ran many Nax. So if you think mana is going to be an issue for you, it's okay. Obviously, it's more DPS to have the mana than it is to use Shadowfiend as a DPS cooldown, I guess I would say. So if you need the mana, use it later in the fight. But I would try to time it with Lust if you can. That's going to be your biggest bang for your buck.
By the way, I don't know if someone has their Discord pings on loud. Oh, okay,
I did. It was me. I turned it off. I can't hear. I can't hear my Discord, so I couldn't even tell. With someone ping, someone in the chat's gotta tell me because I don't hear it. I have no idea that it's pinging until I just read that. So don't be afraid to be like, "Yo, shut this up," and then I'll shut it up. Anyway, is that it? Is that all the Shadowfiend talk?
Yeah, that's everything that snapshots to the Shadowfiend. So you do, make sure you get it up before that Lust is, and you're gonna see in Nax it is the meta, because of Death Knights. It probably will be the meta for a while until Warlocks like significantly outscale potentially Death Knight. I don't even know.
I don't think they do.
That'll work.
I think locks actually fall off as the expansion goes on, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there.
I don't know a way that we do, not lusting.
I don't think it's Warlocks that fall off. I think it's just Shadow Priest that scales hard.
Yeah, that's true. I was looking at some logs. I mean, for example, that Cyberquack log that I sent to you, Crix, it looks like they lusted on Patchwork near the end of the fight. I'm not sure. I'm not sure rationale.
That's because of Patchwork's mechanics. He frenzies at the last few %, so you want to burn through that as fast as possible to minimize healing needed and time.
Yeah, he's actually the only scary encounter right now in Nax.
Got it.
He hits super hard.
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot easier as tanks get more gear, but right at the start, he absolutely slaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's potential you could get 2 Shadowfiends on that fight, right? What's the length of that guy going for right now?
I don't know if it's not a whole 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes and like 40 seconds maybe.
Ooh.
And the reduced cooldown of Shadowfiend is, what is it, 2 minutes right now? Is that right, Passion?
3 minutes. It's 5 minutes base. 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, got it. All right. So maybe not. Maybe you can't get 2, but if it's a longer fight, you probably could. I would not. I would rather have it snapshot with Lust. That's what I would wait for.
Also kind of unfortunate that you probably don't want to use Shadowfiend on trash at all if you can avoid it, even for mana, because then you won't have it up for the boss, and it's just going to be massively impactful to not have it up for any bosses.
Yeah, luckily we got Dispersion now, so that kind of covers that base.
That's very much like Death Knights. We don't want to use Gary on trash because it's just like not worth it by any means.
Over here, Gary, I think SpongeBob, dog. Is that weird?
Not at all, dude. I feel like now I need to add that to my sound week or when summoning it. Is Stars watching?
Yeah, bro. Big T, you have anything to toss in here, my friend?
I think it's finally just nice to actually have a single DPS cooldown. Because this is the first one we've ever had, and it's a pet.
There you go. I can't believe we did that much damage. I think Quag was like, "Yo, look at your Shadowfiend damage." I was like, "Why?" And he looked at it. I was like, "Holy shit, there's a lot of damage." He's like, "Yeah, use it better."
Linelo, you posted logs of just how much it was hitting before earlier today, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So
I don't know
3,000 damage hit.
Yeah, I hit for 3,000 on one hit with crit. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that wasn't even all the buffs. That was just a Kara that I was running.
Yeah, that's a pre-patch Kara, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope.
Oh yeah, Big Tit posted it in the Discord.
So yeah, it's finally nice to have one spell.
Damn.
And that's a Karazhan, right? So that's not like level 80, all the buffs. This wasn't any buffs, dude. This was just popping off.
That's crazy. It's a lot of damage too.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
exciting.
how it gets so many more hits from Bloodlust as well. Like
Yeah,
it
and
does
Icy
so much.
Talons. I mean, you just want to stack it all, dude. So I think Berserking from the Troll also goes to it. So you want to get both on there if you can.
Does it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you look at the buff log for the... let me pull up a Warcraft log real quick to see. Pretty sure it does get Zerking, though.
Do you mean if you use it before or if you use it during Shadowfiend?
Before. Yeah. Oh, I can't see any logs that have it, but I can look at it later on the beta. Or on Prepatch.
Oh no, we've gone over to Warlock content on the stream.
No, I didn't finish the whole run. I stopped after 4 hours. But the next part is the rotation anyway, so it's kind of perfect. Optimal single target rotation, which I'll kind of do here as we talk about it, which you can correct me, obviously. Put my stuff on, which is not keybound because this is a new character. So you pre-potting?
Yeah.
I don't have potions on this guy either, I don't think. We're going to pretend I'm pre-potting. I do have pre-potions. There. Here. Go on. Pre-pot. Touch. Plague. Blast. Play. Pain.
Yeah, so the main start of your rotation, the whole the foundation of it, at least when you're not when you're not a sub 90-second fight, is you want 5 stacks of weaving before you apply Shadow Word Pain, and the best way to get that is applying Vampiric Touch, Devouring Plague, throwing out a Mind Blast, and hitting with 2 ticks of Mind Flay. That gets you all 5 stacks of weaving, and then you can throw out Shadow Word Pain and go from there.
So that's every class except Troll. Just a heads up.
Yes.
Every class
Ooh.
except Troll, you want to do
Grace.
VT, DP, then you do a Mind Blast and 2 ticks of Mind Flay. For Troll, because you have the Zerking early on, your haste is increased. You actually just want to do VT, DP, and then you don't do the Mind Blast. You just do 3 ticks of Mind Flay, and then you do the Shadow Word Pain.
And then Mind Blast right after,
Nope.
or is it not even necessary then?
Yeah, depending on your haste. So let me see if I can put another picture up here, another fun plot that shows at what haste and spell power ratings would you want to use Mind Blast over Shadow Word Pain, or over Mind Flay. 1 second.
Yeah.
Had a
So
lot
are
of
you
fun
clipping
plot.
after 2 to do everything like you would in TBC, like where I have a second one, Mind Blast stuff?
No.
No.
So it's not nearly as cut and dry in TBC, whereas in TBC I could just say, yeah, just clip it at 2 for Vampiric Touch, clip it at 2 for this and that and everything. Clip it at 2 for Vampiric Touch and Devouring Plague, and then maybe clip it at 2 for Mind Blast. There was, from my understanding, there were like a very small amount of times you'd want to do that, but for the most part, Mind Blast isn't worth clipping at 2 for.
Mm-hmm. So I also have been, ever since I think Quack, someone told me not to do that, I haven't been, and I actually got flamed one time. I did that caster video, and someone was like, "Why are you telling people not to clip?"
Well, so I do want to back up on what Patch said a little bit. You do want to clip. I posted so pull that screenshot up I have. If you could do that from the chat.
I don't see it.
Oh.
It's linked in the Twitch chat. Not on the
Oh,
screen.
sorry, I did
okay,
Twitch
no,
chat.
no, yes, that's fine. That's fine. I
My
didn't see that
bad.
either. No, you're good. That's good. That's fine. It's fair. Move the pictures.
This
around a little
this
bit.
is one of the
This is
classic
gonna be
Linelo
fun.
plots that makes no sense to me.
There we
Yeah,
go.
no one likes my plots, but I put them there anyway.
I like them.
So what we're looking at here, the y-axis is your spell power that you have at any given portion of the fight. Your x-axis here is what haste percentage do you have any portion of your fight, and there's 4 different conditions that I'm checking here. The first condition is do not clip your Mind Flay for Mind Blast, and just do Mind Flay 3. So just do your Mind Flay, do not do any Mind Blasts. And then you have condition 2, which is you clip your Mind Flay at 2 ticks and then do Mind Blast. 3 is you just cast Mind Flay and you wait, or sorry, so just cast Mind Blast and wait a certain amount of time. And then 4 is ignore Mind Blast forever and just do Mind Flays. So the plot has 3 colors shown here. Even though there's 4 conditions, you'll see that condition 1 is never done. So we'll just focus on 2, 3, and 4. So for the upper left triangle, when you're at low spell power, low haste rating, you're always going to want to do condition 3, which is wait for your Mind Blast to come off cooldown. So this condition right here is actually, let's say you're in the middle of your rotation and you're having to make a decision between, do I want to cast a Mind Flay or do I want to wait, 0.3 seconds to cast Mind Blast? So at low spell power and low haste percentages, you're going to want to wait that 0.3 seconds or whatever that small amount of delay time is and then cast Mind Blast. Your next portion, which is the largest portion of the entire block here, which is where you're going to operate most of your fights in, is you're going to want to cast a Mind Flay and then clip it 2 ticks, then cast Mind Blast. So that's still really common for almost the entirety of the expansion. It changes once you get T10 4-piece, but what you'll see here is almost the entire majority of your haste and your spell power range, you're going to be clipping at 2 ticks for Mind Blast when it's off cooldown. And then when you get to super high haste ratings and pretty high spell power, you're just going to want to say, ignore Mind Blast and just completely do your Mind Flays. So
Damn.
a lot of stuff here.
This is like one of the best charts we've seen, bro. This is crazy.
So there's a few of these in there because this is if you have a 0.3 second wait for your Mind Blast, because your Mind Blast isn't always going to be off cooldown when you need to, if you want to decide to use it again. And so this is specifically for a 0.3 second wait. And as that delay time or wait time increases, you'll see that you'll want to do more and more Mind Flays.
I was just getting ready to ask, there's sometimes when you have that little bit of a window where it's off, and I would death in that window. Which obviously
So now I'll show you. I have another plot of when you want to death. This one's even funnier, but I put some more work into it because people ask me about death more than anything else. So let me pull that one up 1 second.
Yeah, it would be like an off timer where it's like a half a second little window, and I would death. Like right now, it's a good time right here. I don't need to do it, but yeah, I would just death. Glad you showed me that chart. Or like any kind of window when I don't have a little bit on, I don't want to waste a channel. I would fucking, you know what I mean?
I posted another one actually to keep, since we're on the Mind Blast topic, if you want to pull that one up.
Perfect.
It's in the Twitch chat. So now the other one where I showed you is a 0.3 second wait time. So this one's a 0.1 second wait time. So imagine Mind Blast is pretty much off cooldown. And what you can see here, the color, the mint color is your option 3, which is pretty much just cast Mind Blast. So Mind Blast is still a pretty strong portion of your rotation if it's up and ready to go between 2 spell windows, right? So this is saying it's better to wait 0.1 seconds or 100 milliseconds and cast Mind Blast versus casting a Mind Flay. So a lot of people have the idea in Wrath that you just kind of get rid of Mind Blast, it becomes lower priority, but you use it quite a bit and it's still a pretty good portion of your DPS. It keeps up replenishment as well, and it can also have your Spirit Tap procs. So yeah, it's still pretty good.
We'll see how much damage it is from SPriesrs. Yeah.
It is also worth mentioning that it might end up changing drastically with tier 10.
Yeah, I have another plot with tier 10, but I don't want to focus on that one here because it's just so far down the line.
Of you saying I have another plot. I'm making a compilation.
Yeah, I have a lot of plots, dude.
But yeah, that's a very different thing, and that's also where a lot of people get their information from, is like, oh, on private servers in ICC we didn't use Mind Blast, but yeah, that's private servers in ICC.
It didn't help that every private server content creator was only making content about ICC back in the day. It felt like,
dude, I almost didn't make a new sim because I was getting convinced by other people that, hey, just use SimC, it's out. And then I went through the code and I ran through some of the calculations they were doing, and I was like, oh, this is shit. It's just all it's all priority based.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, most sims are priority. Yeah, most sims are all priority based, but I prefer it if the sim doesn't just tell me what's BiS gear, but it tells me what's the best spell to cast when. So I just figured I'm just gonna do it myself, and I'm happy I did that.
Yeah, that is worth mentioning, that if for anyone that does actually want to deep dive into how to play their Shadow Priest specifically with their gear and their raid buffs, the best way is to go into the sim with all your gear, set it up for your character, for your individual situation, and look at the detailed results. Look at what the sim does, how the sim plays the game.
Yeah, the sim is actually calculating what is the best thing to use when.
You guys have a link to the sim?
Let's see.
Yeah, post one.
Yeah. So Crix, one more. So now I'm gonna switch over to Shadow Word Death. If you want to pull up the plot I just pulled up, this one's a little more. I mean, they're all pretty much the same general idea, but I had a little more detail on this one for Shadow Word Death.
Go ahead. Oh, you just got it? Oh, where's that?
Yeah, I think that's the one in the Twitch. I'll start putting it in the
baby.
Discord.
Oh, either one. No, you're fine either way. I love these.
All right. So this one has 2 plots on there, and so let's focus on the top plot. So the top plot's the exact same idea as the other ones, where you got spell power on the Y, haste percentage on the X. The color here is, because the title of the chart is when to use Mind Flay. I should have put a color bar, but it made the plot ugly. So yellow is when do you want to use Mind Flay, and blue is when you want to use Shadow Word Death. And then I have these red dots overlaid on top to see where are we actually sampling this plot during an actual phase 1 BiS fight. And so on the bottom plot, what I have here is spell power on the left axis, and then haste percentage on the right axis, and then the bottom is time. So what we're actually looking here is, how is my spell power and my haste percentage changing as a function of time due to my buffs or my procs or anything actually happening. So this is just to give an example from a sim run that I did in phase 1 BiS for like a 80 second fight. I can't see what it is, but what you'll see is, for the majority of the fight, we're actually operating in just do Mind Flay regime, where you don't want to do any Shadow Word Deaths. But there are some portions, which I've highlighted in red, where you're at a lower spell power, you're at a lower haste percentage, where it's actually more DPS to fill gaps using Shadow Word Death. And so what you'll do is you'll go into sim and be like, well, the sim only casted Shadow Word Death 3 times. Why? Well, it's like, okay, because it was trying to figure out what's the most optimal DPS spell to use in these low spell power, low haste percentage portions of your fight. So if you're tracking that either in a weak aura or some other method to see where am I actually operating in these 2 regimes, this will tell you when is the best time to cast Shadow Word Death. So it's not a shit ton of time during your fight, but there are opportune times to increase your DPS by about 30 to 50 DPS just by plugging in those 2 to 3 Shadow Word Deaths over your fight. So
is it more like, would you rather Shadow Word Death or 1 tick Mind Flay?
Oh, Shadow Word Death.
Never one.
Yeah, never 1 tick Mind Flay.
Because the global cooldown is 1.5 seconds. The first tick happens 1 second in, and the second tick happens 2 seconds in, right? So if you do 1 tick, you've got half a second of nothing.
Just
guaranteed.
wasted, yeah.
I like it.
So if you go and look at the rotation, the way your CDs align is there shouldn't be a point in the fight where you need to fill a GCD cap, and if you don't, you won't have Mind Blast or Shadow Word Death up. So that's how your priority should go. If you need to fill a GCD cap, and you want to decide between doing a Mind Blast, Shadow Word Death, or Mind Flay 2, always do Mind Blast first, and then you would do Shadow Word Death. And then if both of those are down, which it shouldn't actually happen on any of the fight links we care about, you would do a Mind Flay 2. But it's usually pretty bad to overrun a reapplication of a dot, because those are your highest DPS spells, by a pretty good margin. So that should be the thought process going in when you have a small amount of time to fill a gap before dot reapplication. Mind Blast, Shadow Word Death, and then a Mind Flay 2, if worst case.
I dig it.
So all those plots are pinned in the theory crafting channel. I have like, I don't know, 30 to 50 DMs a day. Like, what the hell does this mean, dude? So I'm fine. I'm fine answering them. Feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to help you out.
Yeah, we're gonna put this will be a highlight, and we'll post it to YouTube tomorrow morning. Okay.
Yeah,
what
great.
about the AOE rotation, which I feel like is kind of, you have Mind Seer, but you put up dots based on if they're gonna last long enough to put them up, and not Shadow Word Pain. I just learned. So put some VTs up if the mobs last, and then searing.
With how fast trash is dying in Nax, I'm pretty sure you're just gonna hop straight into Seer. That's what I expect's gonna happen. I haven't personally gone and done any of that, but everything dies super quick.
Something like Cleaving Horseman, where they're not dying super quick, and they might not even be close together. Yeah, you toss up Vampiric Touch on everything you can. You can only put Devouring Plague on one target, so you're kind of
Is that worth putting up no matter what? On multis? The DP, is that good damage on it?
DP, you should always, in multi-target, always put Devouring Plague up on something, but you can only have it on one target anyway, right? So Devouring Plague is capped to one target.
Yeah. Yeah, I find myself in Naxxus searing almost immediately. Maybe get regen going, replenishment going, and then I'll just see
Yeah, yeah. So that's also another thing. Depending on how much replenishment you have in your group and the mobs you're against, it might be worth spending the first almost 3 seconds of a fight throwing out a Vampiric Touch and throwing out a Mind Blast to get replenishment going. That could potentially be higher value. It's not going to be higher DPS, but it could be higher value for your group.
And I will say, single target, back a little bit to that, a lot of people want to focus on keeping up Vampiric Touch first, but in reality, Devouring Plague is actually your highest DPCT spell. So you want to prioritize that if you have a conflicting
Damage per
Okay,
cast
that's
time.
nice to know.
yeah. If you want to, so actually in a sim, if you look at it, a lot of people, will say first thing you cast is VT, but realistically it's DP. Unless you're pre-casting
Precasting,
your
right?
Vampiric Touch, you want to put Devouring Plague up first. But you should always be pre-casting. I can't think
Yeah.
of any time where you're not pre-casting.
Yeah, and I know for me, for example, it's just I'm always going to put up a VT first because even if I fail at precasting it, it's just muscle memory that's the first spell I do in a fight. Because I should always be precasting it, and the difference isn't going to be massive
That's one
between
thing.
getting one or the other up first.
Complete sidebar to the whole conversation is the community as a whole is like, I see a lot of people not precasting, or they're trying to get used to the precasting and they're not doing it, and they're like, are you sure I should be precasting? Like, yeah, bro, precast your ass off right now. Like, there's no third issue.
I'm getting pre-potting is completely breaking my brain right now. I cannot get it in my head that I need to use a potion before pulling.
I fuck it up and have like 2 seconds of wasted time.
Yeah, because you're doing it too early.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm gonna fuck this up. Yeah, exactly.
DP could result in death. Nah, that's not gonna pull. They'll aggro. This little bit of damage that DP does right here up front is nothing. Like, the threat wise, it's nothing. Warlocks are as a Destro Warlock, you are full setting a Soulfire that's landing almost right when the tank gets there, and I'm not pulling threats. So.
Well, I mean, Locks we're talking about doing double Shadow Bolt. So you do a pre-pull Shadow Bolt, and then while it's flying, you do another one. Yeah. So one hits at time 0, and the other one's flying by the time you're starting your rotation. I was like, that's just too much, dude.
I did the other day on Patchwork. I pulled aggro. How what?
So Bigtit, do you know how Fade works in Wrath? Is it the same as TBC, where you can get rid of future threat?
I thought it paused the threat. I don't know though.
I believe it is. I'll double check.
Because what you could in TBC, you can put yourself in negative threat. Where you can use
it looks like it works exactly the same.
Yeah, so you could use that ahead of time to just guarantee that you can't pull threat on pull.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know it did that. I was always pulling threat and then fading.
I mean, the value of threat it reduces it by is quite low, which is why a lot of people don't tend to use it at all. But if it means you can avoid pulling on pull, then that's good.
Is that a fear that Shadow Priests ever kind of actually legitimately face?
What?
No.
Over aggro on pull?
Fuck no.
No,
absolutely not.
I was talking about like just I'm AoEing and I Mind Sear because my Mind Sear is hitting before the tank gets there, and I pull like a little bit. I'll like panic paint or panic.
Oh
fade,
yeah.
Single target, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna have issues. The most I've had was I was on a Destro Lock in beta a couple days ago before they closed it, and I on Patchwork popped all my cooldowns and a flame cap and sent a Soulfire that crit into my Immolate that crit into a Conflag that crit into an Incinerating crit, and I died. Like, pulled right. There's no no coming back from that.
It is worth considering. Tanks still have target caps. They're higher, but they still have target caps. And Mind Sear has a much higher target cap. So on AoE, you might cause a problem for yourself if you're too quick. Just because the tank can't hit that many targets.
Yep. And it's more of like there's a big pack and I'll sear him, and then you'll see a couple like, oh, I'm going to him, and then the tank will realize that and they'll pull him back. Like, all they gotta do is just simple thing to snap it back.
So it's so easy to get them back, but that's the only time that threat can actually like be a problem.
All right. Melee rotation. Did you guys want? I mean, there's not much to touch on it. Mind Sear, put dots up if you can. VT if that will last.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, hopefully I'll have the sim AoE rotation up and going. I only have Mind Sear implemented right now, but I want to have the sim optimized.
Is that rotation?
Yeah, exactly. I want to have the sim optimized. If there's X number of targets, calculate should I do VT first? If not, Mind Sear. I want it to be able to tell me exactly what it should be, but I don't have that in there yet.
All right, next up is gearing and itemization. Any Shadowfiend gear. So I guess it'd be like, you know, phase 1, Pre-BiS. I can go over it, I guess.
Yeah.
Pre-BiS
So I
phase
mean,
1.
we can
pull your
we can
thing
start
up.
right at the beginning,
Yeah.
and there are actually for pre-raid BiS, there are still some gear you want from Sunwell. Going into, if you want the best pre-raid gear in phase 1 before Nax, you are going to need some Sunwell pieces.
What is that? 'Cause that's a good topic. What are they?
Let's see, what is it? Leggings of Calamity. Victor, do you know these off the top of your head? Because
Is
I
it
do
Amos
not.
the Convoker? The shoulders?
Yeah, Amos
yeah,
the Convoker,
yep.
the shoulders.
What about helm?
Yep.
It's like every spec. The shoulders are also like bad in Wrath pre-patch. That like everyone wants their BiS from Sunwell.
There is the helm. What is the helmet called? It's not the BiS helmet though. It's it's close. You can get if you can go in with that helmet and have 0 issues and never have to worry about replacing it pre-raid, but it isn't the actual best one.
Okay. So this is
Yeah,
what
those-
we're looking at right now, right? On your WoW guide, your beautiful WoW guide. Link will be right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And for yeah, no, that's wrong. Sorry.
And while we're on this exact topic, you can touch on professions. It looks like we got NG tailoring.
Yeah, yeah, we can go ahead with that. I can immediately say that engineering is mandatory for every class, for every spec in PvE in Wrath of the Lich King, and I will never take no for an answer.
Dude, I actually, Ashton, I heard someone make an argument for demo locks that you would rather not have engineering because you want to stack some spell power ability. So what is it, JC?
Oh yeah, I can't wait to not be in the fight, to not apply Demonic Pact. Because
If you are as a demo lock, if you are not required to be engineering, then you shouldn't be engineering. Because
yeah, that's what I've heard.
It doesn't
I've
help
heard
you
some
benefit the raid at all.
Well, it depends on if you're speedrunning as well, right?
Rocket.
Well, if you're speedrunning, you have to have engineering.
Nitro boots. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but if you're not speedrunning and your guild is not requiring you to be engineering as a demo lock, and you're just a full support demo, and you'd go tailoring in JC. Yeah.
Yep. That's
In a past guild, there's definitely some leeway there.
Now I couldn't imagine them not having engineering. I would hate I hate not having it, bro. It's crazy.
That's also it. I'd never want to play Wrath of the Lich King without engineering. There's no chance. I would absolutely cry myself to sleep if I got to watch my entire raid nitro boots away from me and I just sat there jogging along.
Yeah.
Especially as casters, where we're like all of us, every caster, we're not mobilely doing. I mean, I guess fire mages kind of are. We're not mobilely doing AoE. We got to stop and fucking cast. You know what I mean? And then slowly as you do that, everyone else is moving with the tanks, and you move up 5 yards and cast again, and you need the boots. They're like mandatory.
So, but for your other profession, there are actually multiple choices, kind of. And it also depends heavily on what Blizzard ends up doing. So hold on, I'm just going to try and link these more charts.
You got all the graphs, dude. I love it. That's so nice. Having those visual, like, actual breakdowns that you've put all this work into for classes is, like, so incredibly helpful, I think.
Tailoring average, spell power, and jewel crafting.
Yeah, so I saw you guys had these on the mage deep dive, and these are the same ones made by McPero in the priest Discord, and they're aimed at discipline priests specifically, which means they're aimed at using a spell every global cooldown, as opposed to, for example, shadow priests that occasionally throw in a 3-second cast, right? But the idea of these is comparing tailoring with the Lightweave Cloak Enchant proc to the steady, constant increase of jewel crafting gems. And the one of the two, I believe the first one I sent, is comparing jewel crafting gems with blue gems, and the second one is comparing jewel crafting gems with epic gems. Because as epic gems are added into the game, jewel crafting loses a bit of value, because the difference is smaller.
I dig it.
So basically it should actually be the second, the first one where the blue line goes under the red line is that is with blue gems.
Mm-hmm.
And from what it looks like, the jewel crafting gems in Wrath of the Lich King are being added in their final state, meaning they give 39 spell power instead of 32 spell power, which is kind of nuts, and I very much disagree with it. But basically, later on in Wrath, they changed dual crafting Dragon's Eye gems to keep up with the addition of epic gems, and it looks like we're getting that keep up right off the bat, making dual crafting at this in phase 1 just significantly better than almost every other profession bonus.
Kind of stacks up for every class, it looks like. Then it's like a similar.
Yeah.
Every DPS class is seeing a very similar thing with the dual crafting and tailoring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main thing to consider for Shadow Priest though is because you're a dot class, the tailoring bonus will snapshot on all your dots. Even not so much Shadowwood Pain because that'll be refreshed a lot more often. But for Devouring Plague and Vampiric Touch, if you get those up towards the end of the tailoring enchant, then you'll have that buff up on a large part of your damage for more of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's kind of nice.
As compared to, you know, for
Jesus.
example, just an Arcane Mage that just has has direct damage and can't really snapshot the tailoring buff.
All these other classes are slacking, bro. These casters, these Shadow Priest charts. Simon I's had some charts too. We'll give him some credit. Rogues and Shadow Priest got a hell of charts, bro. I like it.
We got we spent 2 phases without a sim and without charts, and then people got tired of it, and Linelo showed up and claimed something. Everyone disagreed, and he came back with receipts.
Oh yeah, well guess what? Yeah,
Yeah, here's
dope,
some.
though.
That's the history of the Shadow Priest Discord now.
Which I'll link a couple of those while we're hanging out. Anything else on Pre-BiS you want to like, man? I don't know, maybe like what to go with first or any kind of Pre-BiS tips?
Pre-BiS is always odd because, you know, it's essentially gone after you get into Nax. So, you know,
for Wrath in particular, I feel like Pre-BiS is so incredibly irrelevant because there are so many pieces that are very similar, very close. Maybe they trade this stat for that stat, and it's all just so close that it doesn't really matter, and you don't have to actually think about it. You get what you get. You go into Nax, and you probably blast it in half greens, and you're fine.
If you blasted in full greens, you would be like, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have like a whole week, you know, until they even release Nax, so everyone's just gonna be farmed out.
Yeah, for sure. But there's also like we had a sim competition in the Shadow Priest Discord, and we let people sim pre-raid BiS, and I made a mistake, and I didn't consider how insane pre-raid BiS can get if you don't enter raids for the next 3 months.
Oh,
If you farm Winter Grasp for 100 hours, then yeah, you can upgrade your pre-raid BiS, and it's the best item you can get. But if you do that, you're also a lunatic.
only
or if you
100
buy
hours?
all the phase 1 BOEs, there you go.
Yeah, spend 100,000 gold on gear that you will replace in one run of Nax.
That's gonna be a requirement for some guilds.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going for what's on the slot's pretty good, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna tank your DPS or make it.
For what I recommend for pre-raid gearing is if you scroll down in that pre-raid guide, all the slots are individually covered, and I think that's the better way to look at it. Don't look at pre-raid as a full set. Look at pre-raid and like, is this item better than this item? I've got both, and that's how I'd look at these things personally. Going for a pre-raid set in Wrath is just not going to work. You can get into Nax so easily. You can clear it in whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, Nax is gonna be such a joke. I mean, I wouldn't stress about it for most of the guilds, right? Again, we talked about the speed run, top guilds. You're gonna want to, you know, make everything perfect, but I think most people really need to focus on pre-raid.
Yeah, you should have no issues. The only thing is like try to have your tanks geared for patchwork because he'll one shot you. But other than that, realistically, Nax, there's nothing really scary in the raid.
No, exactly, and I just don't think it's not worth fussing about it and making because so many of the best options pre-raid aren't realistic pre-raid. I don't think that the tier you can get from badges is realistic to have before you enter Nax the first time.
Oh yeah, a week. You can get them.
Yeah, you get like 53
you can get them a week.
a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be
can
spamming.
get
Then
them,
that's
but you
5
want-
hours a
yeah,
day
you
of
gotta get-
spamming heroics, right? So
yeah.
And that's also getting all the pieces, right? There's a lot you can get from badges.
yeah.
And then there's like, get 40 Wintergrass marks and get a helmet that you'll immediately replace in Nax. And it's these things that I don't think it's worth focusing on. Of course, some people are going to do it, and if you play 4 Death Knights, you probably got enough time to farm some Pre-BiS.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it on at least 2.
I want to say I feel bad, but I don't because you signed yourself up for that. You know what I mean? What about your other classes? Are you just going full 40Ks?
No. I've got 2 hunters. I've got 2 rogues, an NA and an EU hunter and rogue, and then I've got to figure out where I'm leveling my enhanced shaman.
No shot. You're rating on 9 characters, dog. That's what you just told me.
Jesus
You're not.
Christ.
I don't believe it.
We'll see how it goes.
9, bro. You don't even play on the weekends, bro. There's 3 days out of your week gone, shot, gone forever.
Next
There's
takes
no
like an
shot. You're
hour.
doing 9, bro. That's you ain't lying. That's true. I'm worried
I'm
about.
doing WoW
I'm worried
full-time,
about.
and I'm worried about playing 4.
Yeah, I'm playing on 5, and I'm worried about. I'm thinking about getting another warlock because I really like. Because I'm the demo warlock, and I kind of figure demo you never get to really play anything but demo, so I kind of I'm more worried about right now. I like playing on all those, but what happens when Ulduar and TOG everything comes out? Are you still gonna want to rate on 8 to 9 characters? I'm already
it'll
like,
just be like
I'm already like, yo,
GKPs and stuff.
I love my elemental shaman, but I don't know about TOGC elemental. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally I have I think I have 8 characters right now, and I usually raid almost all of them throughout the week, just because I just do GDKPs when I have the time. It's I'll just run in GDKP, and my
Yeah,
guild leader runs
that's a good
14
point.
GDKPs a week. I think he actually is now up to 17. He has
Lai's crazy.
15 pairs of glaives. He actually got a second glaive on one of his warriors and deleted one.
Jesus Christ.
But that's also a difference where he is playing WoW full time. He's streaming WoW
Yeah.
full time. He's not doing other things around WoW. Like I'm making money full time off WoW, but it's writing about it. It's not just playing it. And,
Dude, I wish I made money off
you guys
WoW.
making
Yeah.
you guys
Me
are
too.
making videos and content, and the streaming isn't the only thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the time constraints start to come in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how I'm gonna play or what I'll probably play a rogue on NA or EU and a rogue or a hunter on one of the sides. I haven't decided.
What happened to this
where, though.
fucking magical ret paladin you were talking about for so long? You were so hyped to play ret, bro.
Bro,
What happened?
I just have to wait. I just have to
Are you
wait.
excited? Are you gonna wait till it's OP and then play it?
Fuck yeah.
Smart guy.
I'm gonna raid log on 1 character. That's all.
I've got to say,
He's raid logging on a shadow priest.
Linelo is the master raid logger, but he's going to sit there spending more time making plots and graphs than he actually plays the game.
Yeah, dude.
I was gonna play Ret in Wrath. I was really excited about it. I made sure in TBC in Phase 2 to bring my paladin in, to sneak it in, to establish myself as I want to be the Ret for Wrath. And then I tried it on beta twice, and I'm like, if I play this for a full year, I will completely and permanently destroy my wrists. I cannot do this. I am too old to play Ret.
What
Carpal
about
tunnel.
I get asked this a
life,
lot. I get
dude.
asked
Yeah.
this all the time coming from a warlock. Do you guys any plans to touch the little affliction? Because it's I know
Yeah,
it's
dude,
not a shadow
affliction's
priest,
tight.
but I know it's real close.
I mean, I
So-
helped a lot on the Warlock sim just because
Yeah.
I was super interested in the Affliction rotation and the play style. I think it's pretty rad. I think Affliction's tight. I don't think it's as fun as Shadow Priest. It definitely pumps, executes pretty sick, but I probably won't play it. It's not enticing enough.
Yeah.
Got a kid and stuff. You know what I mean?
Got a
What
kid.
about-
I can play Shadow. I can't play Affliction. Just, I got a kid.
I got a kid. I can't do that. I can't steep to that level, dude.
What about Big T? You gonna play anything besides Shadow?
Well, that's the thing. So at the moment, I'm actually taking a very small break from World of Warcraft, but I'll be back by the end of Nax. But I'll be definitely still doing speedruns. And now, as we've discussed, Shadow's not really going to be in there with speedruns. So I do have a Warlock ready. I will be playing Warlock, at least for the end of Tier 7. And then, who knows, maybe in Ulduar will get a little bit better. If that's the case and we can actually viably run a Shadow, then that's what I'll do. But I will also definitely be playing a Warlock.
Well, you got to go. You have to be Shadow Priest and Ulduar so you can get Valinor. Then you can quit. You'll be good.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
What about do Do you guys think the future in terms of the speedrunning will be better as you guys scale higher and do more damage? You think it'll be
Oh,
more
for
like,
sure.
oh, now
Yeah, I
like,
think
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. Just it's literally just not a conversation for Naxxramas.
Yeah. I do want to say, I'm also rolling Warlock for Wrath, but I'm rolling Demo. And my reasoning is that I never picked Shadow Priest because I like the rotation, because I like dots. I picked Shadow Priest because I like being the support class. And
well, there you go, Demo.
that's Demo. Yeah, that's what there is
Right.
now.
Demo main too, baby.
no-
We're here together, holding hands.
No other support classes, so I'm hopping ship over to the number 1.
There you go.
I'm just gonna top charts as Shadow, dude, and then laugh at everybody else. That's my goal.
That's the greatest. I love
the
that,
raid
yeah.
as Demo and laugh at the overall until Demo falls
dude,
off.
right? I love when like someone's like you're not like the general meta class, but you're pumping and you're beating everyone in your raid, and you're just like, yeah, that's right.
I'm
be
going
fun.
for that, dude. That's my goal.
I did that as Ret for so much of Wrath, where everyone's like, "Oh, Ret's pretty bad," and I was like, "Really? Have you seen this?"
Yeah.
My guild pumps though, so
It's crazy how many people, when you think about demo locks, all anybody not everybody, all anybody cares about is the loot. They're like, yeah, loot funnel right here. I'm like, damn, bro, it's crazy. You guys better do good, bro. If they're giving you that loot, you better fucking show out.
the typical
I'm
warlocks,
uncomfortable with
dude.
that idea. I'm like actually uncomfortable with the idea of playing a class that gets everything first. That I don't like that.
Why?
What? Yeah, why, dude? That
I
sounds
don't.
weird.
Because, God, it feels bad. It feels like.
Well, it's less
feels
on the
good,
loot.
dude.
Well, at the same time, other people don't care, but they shouldn't. Casters shouldn't care because you're buffing them significantly. It's not like slight.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you
of
getting
course.
like, Dying Curse or whatever. It's not like a slight upgrade. It's like fucking massive in comparison to like an Affleck getting it or whatever,
Yeah,
or a
it's
mage or
definitely
whatever.
nice that it helps everyone. That's definitely evens it out a lot.
Yeah,
It makes
Dying
people,
Curse is
not
Shadow Priest
hate on it
Cryo.
that much, Because if
Yeah.
it didn't give them anything, you're like, why are they getting on a loot? You know what I mean? But now that people don't care about that much, because I don't even care about the loot that much. Is I'm sacrificing hit rating for spell power type shit. Like I can't wait. Even just watching some of these demo Tyrant, but some of these D-rolls play right now. They're just playing like there's no snipes. There's a long list of things they're not doing right that just tilts me so much. But yeah, it's gonna be really fun. Until your demo quits the guild, yeah, that's why you choose a demo that you know is not gonna leave, right? You got to go like, yo, I know this person's going to be here. He's been here for a minute or whatever the reason is. Like, because that can suck. You stack up a demo all through Nax and Oldwar comes out and he leaves. Oh,
But that's also the thing. It's super hard to find. Like right now, I'm trying to find a good spot for my demo. It's impossible. They've established their demo.
Everybody wants
our
demo,
demo's been in the guild since week 1 classic. Like they've been through it with us through Molten Core. All right, yeah, fair enough.
Everybody wants the demo because it's doing extremely well early, but it falls off. It's going to fall off. Yeah, it's going to fall off pretty bad. Oldwar peaks it, and it's going to in game. You're not going to be just sitting there blast. You're going to be blasting, but it's not going to be like what you're seeing at Nax.
You're a few thousand DPS less than Affliction.
Yeah.
In ICC.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I hope it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, my class is bad now. I want to switch to Affliction. Nah, bro, you're stuck. That's you. Give me that demonic pack, man. We didn't give you all this loot for 9 months for you to bitch out about it now,
Yeah, don't roll demo because you want to be top DPS for the rest of the expansion. You roll demo because you want to be demo.
Yeah, I get the best of both worlds. I'm demo full time in my raid, but whenever we do speed runs or world first races, I get to be Affliction. Pretty hyped about that.
I'm just sticking as Shadow, suck or not. I'm not in a speedrun guild, so fuck it.
Yeah, but you're gonna be one of those people who like the Shadow Priest who beats anybody on the meters and just talk shit to him.
That's my goal, dude. I'm gonna talk mad
every time you beat
shit,
a warlock,
dude.
run your mouth the whole time.
Every time I beat a lock, I'm gonna post a screenshot and put in the lock Discord, and I'm just gonna laugh at him.
I thought locks were the best class.
Yeah, there you go,
funny.
dude. There's nothing better than running the sim in ICC BiS and beating out locks. Feels
There's
good.
nothing better than salty warlocks, dude. Let's be real.
Oh, dude, yeah,
They
salty
get
locks are the best.
And I'm
dude.
one of them too, man. I'm a warlock man, but when they get salty, we get salty. What you mean you get PI and focus magic? We'll argue until we're blue in the face. No, me.
Yeah, dude. My GM's gonna be locked, so I'm interested to see if I get any buffs.
Is he going demo?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, we got what's next? Glyphs. Glyph McNasties. You want to go? I can pull it up on the sheet right now, actually.
Yeah, we Shadow is in an unfortunate situation where we really only have 2 glyphs that we care about.
Oh, really?
Two
for
mandatory
PvE.
glyphs and one that's kind of whatever. Grab what you want. So The main ones are Glyph of Mindflay, which increases the damage Mindflay does by 10% on targets that already have Shadow Word Pain up. And that should be all targets always. Every time you're using Mindflay, the target should have Shadow Word Pain on them. So that's just 10% damage on Mindflay. And then Glyph of Shadow, which has I believe it's a proc. I'm trying to keep this all in my head right now. That increases your spell power by 30% of your spirit whenever you crit in shadow form.
Not with non-periodic spells.
For no dots.
So
Yes.
no dots. The key here though is they changed Mindflay from periodic to direct. So it does proc off of your Mindflay, which is pretty big because that's you're using that spell more than anything else.
Yes, yeah. So basically, that just drastically increases the value of Spirit for Shadow Priest gearing, and also improve Spirit Tap and regular Spirit Tap increase your Spirit even more. So there's just a whole feedback loop of everything scales off Spirit, and Spirit scales off a bunch of stuff itself.
Yeah, so Glyph of Shadow right now in phase 1 is going to provide almost 400 DPS, so it's pretty big.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to proc, but it's not proccing. I gotta get crit. There it is. Increase spell damage power by 30% of your total spirit, which in a level 80, not even Pre-BiS, is 522 spirit.
And that's with improved Spirit Tap, it looks like. So yeah, that gets to kind of insane amounts, and that just makes Spirit on gear basically free spell power. So those two are mandatory, and you never want to be without either of those. Third glyph is either Glyph of Dispersion, which is reduces the cooldown of Dispersion by 45 seconds, putting it at 1 minute 15 seconds cooldown, or Glyph of Shadow Word Death, which increases the damage Shadow Word Death deals by 10% to targets under 35% health. And that is a DPS increase, technically, sometimes. But it's such a it's 10% on your least used spell for 35% of the boss's health. It's such a tiny portion of the fight that who really cares?
It depends on what the goal of your guild is. I expect most people are going to run Glyph of Dispersion. You can use it between your packs. If you're a speedrunner, obviously take it. If you're having issues in mana between trash, use it. But if you're like a parse guild or a guild that has boss kill time as their focus, you probably take Shadow Word Death. It's not a huge DPS increase. We're talking like 5 to 10 DPS, but it is a DPS increase. So if that's your goal, go for it.
This also makes it so you use Shadow Word Death under 35%.
Yeah, pretty much.
It helps.
Well, as far as I've understood it, you still use it exactly the same way.
Yeah,
as you would
still use it in the same
you
scenarios.
You don't change anything. You don't use it more often because you have the glyph.
Well, do you use it under 35% on cooldown?
No.
So remember that plot I showed before of your spell power and your haste and how everything's tracking? It barely shifts that plot, right? So you're still trying to use it when you would normally use it, except now it does slightly more damage if you use it near the end.
That's
which
crazy
more often than not, you're going to be using it near the end.
Well, that's that glyph right there.
Yeah, well, I mean,
20%.
That's a lot of shit, dude.
That's crazy. So many things that it feels like there's so much shit to your toolkit, glyphs and talents and everything, and so many different things for like a little bit, like this far away from being like, oh shit, this would be huge.
Yeah, 100%. If there's just small tweaks,
just make
Shadow
that
Priest
30%,
becomes powerful.
and it'd probably shift the entire execute phase for Shadow.
Should be dope.
Or make it where it removes the cooldown of Shadow Word Death, or reduces it by half, or something like that. Just small little tweaks would help a lot. But I mean, Shadow Priest scales crazy, so I'm not too worried.
There's one glyph there actually on screen that I do want to mention, and that's Glyph of Shadow Word Pain, because I see it thrown out a lot that people are talking about that glyph. And what it does is every time your Shadow Word Pain ticks, which is once every 3 seconds, you restore 1% of your base mana, and that's base, not total, not max. That is every 3 seconds. You potentially restore 40 mana at level 80.
Oh my God.
That is so 40 mana.
The funny thing is, this glyph was what they replaced Hasted Shadow Word Pain with. Assholes, dude. Complete Blizzard cucking the Shadow Priest. It's
Yeah, this could be
insane,
dude. It fits so perfectly because like you have an open third glyph slot for the most part. You know what I mean? So if you could just slot that in there and get some hasted pains, that'd be nice.
Originally, they were gonna have hasted pain, and they're like, you know what they need? They need 40 mana every 3 seconds.
Like, you know what? We don't want Shadow Priest to be top. They never are. So let's just, you know.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude. But they can heal on one fight potentially, so let's not give them hasted Shadow Word Pain.
Right.
Yeah, other than that, there really aren't any other major glyphs worth even looking at or considering. It's just Dispersion, Shadow of Death, Shadow, and Mind Flay.
I mean, granted, we're not talking PvP here, so I don't know. There's no one really here.
No, yeah. Definitely worth mentioning. This is not applicable to PvP at all. None of us really PvP. We can't speak from that perspective.
Literally, even me and Sarthe, none of us PvP. We're PvP.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah.
All right, good. So anyone watching this,
we're gonna do PvP episodes, but it'll be later, like channel and all the.
Okay,
but,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
For what it's worth, Shadow Priest seems absolutely fantastic for Wrath PvP. It seems like one of the best possible specs, and I'm sure everyone that plays it will have a fantastic time. You're no longer forced to play disc. I just don't PvP as Shadow, at least.
I have to.
So
I have an undead priest from like when I was playing Classic, and now they're doing faction transfers at some point. I wanted to faction transfer my priest to Alliance, but I don't know when they're gonna do that. So this weekend I actually had to boost my priest, and obviously I'm just gonna get the season 4 gear. So no life those BGs, which is gonna be rough. It's clothy. It's rough.
Maybe next
You have
weekend.
4K.
Sounds
My
terrible,
boomy has
dude.
4,000 health, 4.5 health.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
everything
boosted a
one-shots
priest
me.
to 70 as well.
it is so
bad
fun
was it?
running around and one-shotting people right now, though. It is
Dude, it's
so
crazy.
incredibly fun.
At the
It's so
same time,
fun.
I would blow your mind if you saw how much damage I'm doing in his BGs as a fresh boomy.
Oh,
It's
the
pretty
boomy?
crazy, bro.
Yeah,
It's
for
insane.
sure.
How did Shadow Priest?
A
Did you
fresh
boost it?
boosted- Yeah, I boosted a priest because I needed a troll priest because I played undead in TBC because Devouring Plague was worth rolling undead for a while. And they have 4,100 maximum health and 11,800 maximum mana.
Outside of Fort?
Yeah, outside of Fort. There is one piece of gear on a boosted Shadow Priest that gives stamina.
Were you doing BGs at all? Or were you just...
I'm not. Yeah, I was going to, and then I saw my max health, and I reconsidered, and it's just kind of sitting there. But I'm doing Sunwell on it
I'm gonna lie to you. I
tomorrow.
wanted to just throw Mindseer in the middle of the whole thing while everyone's doing it, you know?
Yeah, that would be great if I had Mindseer.
I think these
can run
DPS
in
classes
Holy
have a
Mode.
lot of... Anything with dot classes, you can go kind of heavy and sit in the back and dot and spring and do quite a decent damage, which is nice.
Yeah, I've been doing that on my non-boosted but freshly leveled Warlock, and it's so nice. Just sit in the back, throw dots up, toss your pet in, and you do so much damage until someone realizes you exist.
Why is no life in BGs on Horde worse? Oh, because Alliance usually wins them. You know what? This is my first time being Alliance. I've been Horde forever, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I love winning these BGs, bro. I'm gonna lie, these AVs, when I go into them and I'm not losing every single one of them, feels good. I don't feel bad for you.
I've played
too
0
scrappy.
BGs on my Shadow Priest the entirety of TBC. Feels good.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
I
think
played
might
some
have
on my
done,
lock, and that was it.
Very few. Maybe like 3 on my priest. But I did a lot of rep PvP, and that was great fun. The rolling the roulette wheel to one-shot people in arena is the best thing.
Did you guys not farm for the PvP neck that we totally had added?
Yeah, I was
Not I.
totally maining Shadow at that point.
I told
Yeah,
people, I
we're
told
like,
everyone,
ignore it.
I told everyone to get it because it was BiS, and if they didn't get it, they were trolling, and I didn't even try.
Is
I was.
what time does BG weekend end? They already did?
So I think it's ended in Europe already, right?
I don't know, it was Monday night or like Tuesday morning. I don't know.
I think it's Monday night.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think Star's cut out.
Next weekend is AV weekend. I
Yeah,
think,
that's gonna be
and,
unreal. I'm literally. I
yeah.
decided I'm waiting on 2 of my DKs. I'm just like, I'll just do it next weekend.
I think I'm gonna
Just do it
do.
next
Do you
weekend.
like? Are you using 2 accounts at the same time in AV?
No, that's what I've heard people getting banned for. Also.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Even if
don't do
they're
that with the
playing.
bans going out.
Yeah, even
Okay.
if they're playing both of the accounts, they're getting hit. So I'm not.
Yeah, AV weekend's gonna be big. It should be a lot of honor though, because it was winning out on honor this week for people, all the people, because the season 4 gear for those who don't know is extremely good for leveling on the boost characters, right? It'll carry you. And then
Yeah, it's really nice.
the honor and AV were better than like doing the war songs. You know, it's crazy.
Warsong was so much more fun though. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I was having a blast, bro.
Yeah, you walk in and you just like,
long as I stayed out of
you go,
death
like
grip
1v4, 1v5, and you're just like, this is sick. I'm getting gear on my my alliance one, the one in fusion, and like so it's you just win every fight. It's so fun.
Yeah, pocket heals on a frosty guy. DKs look pretty nasty
Yeah.
right now. Warriors.
Is it Howling Blast? Is that what's strong, or?
Yeah, and Obliterate too. But Howling Blast build seems to be like the meta for at least AV. We just
Sarthe,
do
you're
massive
cutting out.
AoE damage.
You're not cutting out, Sarthe. We just can't hear you.
Oh,
There you go.
I can Howling Blast a group to like 20%. Everyone to like
Jesus
20%.
Christ,
I get
that's
one
One
shot.
crazy,
Howling
dude.
Blast.
You can take push knock off if you have that on, Sarthe, because I don't know if that's what the issue is. What about? Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I posted a plot in the Discord about the races. I know it's a little further down. in the-
No. Yeah, you can do it right now. Talk about races.
Yeah,
Perfect,
so you
thank
can
you.
pull that
You already,
plot up. It's just showing the delta DPS. So there's a few races like Night Elf and not human, a dwarf that really don't add anything to your DPS. So I kind of booked all of them under Night Elf here. So what we're looking at here is the DPS for each of the races compared to your non-DPS adding races. So for example, Night Elf and Draenei and Dwarf are all at 0, or plus and minus a little bit depending on the iteration of the run. And then you start getting into Human, which has the added Spirit. And so since spell power scales with Spirit, you end up getting some extra DPS to your run. And then you have Troll on the right here, which has Berserking, which is just pretty insane. So this delta DPS of 150 relative to those base races doesn't even include the Voodoo Shuffle 15% reduction in Mind Flay, which pushes this up quite a bit more.
Way more, yeah.
Yeah, so troll is where you should be going if you care about DPS at all in PvE as a Shadow Priest. I mean, it's just above everything else by quite a bit.
Nelf does not have star shards, no. Priest racials are gone. It's only race racials.
Yeah, so troll is where you're at. If you're not troll, you're trolling, dude.
And for Alliance, the only DPS increase race is human, and it's a fairly small amount, but it's something.
I don't know. People like to say human looks better, but who cares?
Damn, trolls that high.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. And
technically,
and this doesn't even include the bug, so it's pretty crazy.
So speaking from Alliance, is there a large benefit in going human then?
Yeah, I mean it's
Not
there,
large.
right? You got
it's
A
yeah.
little bit of spirit helps.
30
with some stuff,
DPS. Yeah,
but not shadow
I mean-
at the same time. So it's like
maybe that scales too as the expansion goes on. I'm not sure what the spirits are going to be on some of the gear
Yeah,
sets, but as your spirit
I
gets
think-
up, human increases in performance.
Draenei good for hit.
Draenei good for hip if you need the hip, but you can get
Yeah.
it from someone else. That's
Yeah, if
the
you
thing,
need it.
right? You can't. It's hard to argue that you should bring it as a Shadow Priest when you kind of need every edge you can get.
Oh, I feel like you guys have to go Shadow Priest and us Death Knights get to go human again.
Makes more sense than it probably makes more sense in that way. I don't know what I'm gonna be, human or night elf. I want to be a female though. I kind of like night elf. I think I want
Dude,
night
go
elf
human,
just
dude.
because I have to spam BGs, bro, and then just race
Oh.
change when they open up race changes. Shadow mode is the silliest thing ever. You'll see a night elf and you're chasing him. All of a sudden they just go invisible. You're like, oh, I wonder where you are. Yeah.
Dude,
Like
I was
pretending like
dwarf.
you don't know exactly where they are. Yeah.
You're like, I wonder where you are, dude.
I was dwarf all TBC and classic, and I fucking hated it because I wanted to top charts and I wanted to compete against the world from parsing perspective, and not only was I losing because you have the East stacking buffs, but I fucking couldn't compete with Berserking or Devouring Plague, and it just sucked. So I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going troll. I'm not gonna do this again in
Oh,
Wrath.
you rerolled the whole fucking faction,
Yeah.
huh? Damn.
Yeah, I'm just my dwarf is just rotting. It sucks. All that
forgot about
time
dwarf.
and experience. Oh, it sucks, but it feels nice using Berserking. I'll tell you that.
Bro, I can't believe how big a troll is. That's pretty crazy, man. That's like a fat difference. That's huge.
Yeah, it's noticeable. If you're not rolling troll as a Shadow Priest,
troll?
then who cares what profession you're going? Who cares if you have perfect BiS? Because 150 DPS is going to be greater than first
Dude.
and second items.
That is a
You know what I
lot
mean?
of fucking DPS for a
Like, to
race.
me, to me, if you really care about improving the DPS on your class, then go troll. And if you're not, then don't complain if you don't get the BiS pieces. Don't complain or don't worry about perfecting your professions. I mean, I know if you're Alliance, you don't have a choice. You don't go human if that's where your guild's at. But you know, troll is where you need to be if you want to be doing DPS.
That's crazy. That's like the biggest gap of a race in like any iteration of the expansions. Usually it's like they're all way small, like you almost barely can tell. That's pretty crazy.
I think what's it called? I think Death Knight might be somewhere near that, just for the sake of how ridiculous Unholy is scaling with haste, but that's only for like single target, only for bosses. It's like purely for parsing bosses, not for overall.
Orc demo locks are pretty fucking fat too, but I don't know about that. I don't know about 150 DPS versus what they normally do.
Yeah, one of the big things though is for Warlock and DK, you have both Orc and Troll, right? Priests don't have
Warlocks
Orc,
can't be trolls.
So, oh no, they can't. Crap.
Yeah. You said you have Orc and then Blood Elves.
Okay, yeah.
Another thing about Troll is once you get to Trial of the Crusader, aren't some of the bosses beasts? So you get like what?
One boss. I think you have one. You have one boss in the whole game. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, hey, that's DPS boost on that boss being Troll.
Already the best race in the game, and then you get just the boss even better.
Yep. What is it? How much damage is it? 5%?
Mixna, that's a that's spider,
Mixna
yeah.
Beast slaying, yeah. So it's a DPS increase just for being Troll again. There you go. I mean,
you look like shit because you're a troll, but
that's the worst thing is you're ugly. It looks so bad.
Shoes on, feet bleeding all the time. Come on, man.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not pumping feet all the time. I'm not staring at the feet.
I can't help but see the feet.
I just zoom out all the way, and who gives a fuck? That's my philosophy.
That's true. The real
dude.
gamers zoom out. You're right about that. I can't do the people who play like super logged in and shit.
And I don't sit on the loading screen, so I never even see my character. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm just stuck in queue, so I don't even know what a character looks like.
Yeah.
I started this queue at like 10 in the morning, like 4 hours ago. It's just absolutely fucking crazy.
Oh, you're not done. Oh my, you're not even gonna be done.
That's what I was saying. I got it.
Now I'm over here rethinking my life. Like maybe I just get off after this and just go get some videos done or something, because that's kind of tilting.
I did that the other day.
Yeah, go get other. It's actually so worth it, like with your time, because like literally the queue is like sometimes you're just not gonna get in. You're not gonna.
I just checked. I can log right in.
It's Labor Day. Yeah, I know. I know it's bad.
I think the fresh realms have it the worst in terms of queue times. You know.
Really?
Have you tried looking into Thakal, the PvP realm?
No, I heard about it.
Is it 14K like Benny?
I tried yesterday. I was in the queue for 9 hours.
Holy shit!
Genuinely 9 hours in the queue, and I logged on at 11 p.m. I was like, I'm going to bed.
Damn.
There's no point. There's no point.
Crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
I wouldn't play, dude.
Age Flips don't seem to be doing too bad right now. No complaint.
In the chat, asked to clarify the hit talent for Shadow Priest, and I should definitely do that quickly. So Shadow Priests get 3% hit from Shadow Focus in the Shadow Tree, and then you also get 3% hit from Misery in the Shadow Tree, but that's also provided by Boomkins. But you always want to spec Misery because it increases the spell power benefit of your spells anyway, so you never just skip that. Which means that Shadow Priests need 11% hit from gear, or 10% hit from gear as Alliance with a Draenei in the party. So that's what you should be aiming for gearing as a Shadow Priest.
Pretty easy to gear it, I think, too.
And hopefully we get removed from Boomkin, so it's just us. That's the goal, dude. Push for that.
The Boomkin's gonna be mad, dude, if you get that.
I don't care, dude.
Would they though? As a Boomkin, that means I don't need to put up FF, right?
I mean, they're definitely gonna be mad.
Anyway. Oh, because you got crit. You got the crit.
Someone else will put it up. I'll still get it. Fuck it.
The Boomkins are definitely gonna be mad.
They get so many. They do Boomkins skyrocket.
I'll tell you right now, as a Boomkin, if you changed our FF, I wouldn't give a fuck. My damage is still there. 100%. I don't lose any damage from you changing that talent at all.
I know.
You can literally take that whole fucking thing away.
No, now you get to shill and convince other people to put up the Fairy Fire. It's like, all right, yeah, the Feral needs to throw that.
Yeah, and as a Boomy, we're already trying to finesse, you know. Yeah. Obviously, we're going to be the ones doing it. I'm trolling, but, you know, it's still like, hey, I don't want to do it. You want to do it?
Yeah,
one
literally
global, like, I don't want to do it.
Literally nothing changes by removing the hit.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
Yeah, but someone's gonna argue that makes Boomkin less viable and less likely to be brought, which is not true. But people are gonna argue that forever.
You can argue that, but the Earth and Moon alone and a whole bunch of other shit, that's just gonna be super helpful for him, and the damage too.
And then innervates.
B-reses.
Yeah, I mean, dude, boomkins have so much utility. It's crazy that they doubled up on that one thing that Shadow Priest bring.
Yeah, they just kind of were crazy because you don't have the mana portion from VT where you'd bring them for that reason too.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever since you said it, it's all I've been thinking about. I would love. Obviously, we're just talking shit here. We're not Blizzard, but it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
One thing, something like that, to be added to make it more niche, to make them bring them. Because I've heard that a lot, where the guild is talking about it, like you don't need to bring a Shadow Priest. Like you don't, if you don't want to, you do not need to bring a Shadow Priest, and you're not going to be losing anything. And it sucks to say that, because I'm not advocating for that at all, and it sucks to even think about that because like they are really good.
Yeah, especially so Nax specifically, I think Ulduar we're gonna pick up in our DPS where it's like viable to bring a Shadow Priest and still be able to compete.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Nax. If you, in my opinion, though, if guilds aren't going to take a Shadow Priest for Nax, they're just gonna work around not having one later, right? So it sucks that the first raid of Wrath Shadow Priest is gonna probably suck really bad for the top guilds.
I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good trade-off though, because you have where a lot of classes like Shaman or even a Warlock to a degree, like as the expansion goes down, ICC, we're not as strong as you were, right? Versus where Shadow Priest literally is just going up the whole time, which is nice and boomy and stuff like that.
Dude, Shadow Priest and ICC.
It's kind of like a fair trade-off a little bit.
Yeah, Shadow and ICC looks crazy. I mean, it's not Firelock or Rogue, or what is it, Warrior
Fury.
2?
Yeah, Fury.
Yeah, but Shadow Priest, I mean, between Phase 1 and the BiS ICC, we gain almost 11,000 DPS, which is just absurd. It's pretty crazy.
Firelock? Oh yeah, Fire Mage. You meant to say?
Oh yeah, sorry. Fire Mage. Yeah, not Firelock. Yeah, Fire Mage gets crazy, but yeah, Shadow Priest definitely pumps in ICC. But I mean, at the same time, not many people care about the last expansion and full BiS. So we'll see.
Yeah, man, I don't know what I was saying.
Or last raid, sorry.
Last raid, I always get so hyped for the last raid, and ICC kind of has like a second phase type thing, because we got like Ruby Sanctum and stuff.
Also Lich King.
Yeah,
Invincible.
And yeah, it has like the main boss, like in Sunwell, it isn't like the main boss everyone thought about. When you think about Burning Crusade, you think about Illidan. So
I swear to God, I didn't even know. I thought that was the last boss until I started private servers like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, yeah, we got Black Temple, and then there's something called Sunwell. That's what the fuck is Sunwell?
Yeah,
I was like, oh, look at me.
ICC is gonna be fun for Shadow Priest. If you play Shadow, ICC is gonna be really huge for your DPS. I mean, the 4-piece.
I think. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, 4-piece T10 is just crazy. Well, I say that, but it essentially does what the Voodoo Shuffle does on Troll's Mind Flay. It just reduces the duration of your Mind Flay by a little more than 15%. It's pretty crazy from a DPS perspective.
No, we're not saying AF won't be good, Mora. We're just saying it doesn't scale as well. It scales great, but it's not. There's other classes that skyrocket in ICC. That's what we mean. We don't mean like obviously we're not gonna be bad. If Warlock was gonna be bad in ICC, I wouldn't be playing it. So that'll tell you something, right?
I think it's worth also considering that compared to Sunwell, ICC with the set bonuses and that, it adds so much to so many more classes and all the armor penetration and Deathbringer's Will and Shadowmourne. There are so many more cool things that classes get to experience in ICC compared to Sunwell. So I think everyone will be more hyped for it.
A lot of classes like rotations changed because of their set bonuses too. Yeah. There's some stuff like you guys are playing. You guys are Mind Flay spam and Warlocks are doing something different. Everybody's doing something. Not everybody. I can't speak for every class, but a lot of people are doing different things with their 210, which is cool. And another thing I would say that I would just so we can don't worry about it. I think that in Nax, even if you don't need a Shadow Priest, you still need mind controls. And yeah, I guess you can run T healing priests, but I feel like you're gonna see more it's gonna be more common to see a disc and a shadow versus let's bring 2 disc priests or a disc and a whole bunch of mind controls.
I mean, we do a lot of doom speaking up here, but it's because we're talking about the top speed running guilds and what are they going to want, and that's where my focus is most likely they're not going to want one. But for the majority of all the other guilds, you're going to do fine as a Shadow Priest. You could top charts. I mean, you're gonna do fine, and most guilds are probably gonna bring one. It's just they're not necessary.
Yeah, for the vast majority of guilds, it's just a case of bring the player, not the class.
Exactly.
Which can be accounted for most of these classes right now. I would say I don't want to say all specs because you'll see some that maybe it is all specs. I always doom the Warriors, but maybe I should shut the fuck up about it because maybe even them, like it's all player over class, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, worst
Right,
case, even in the top guilds, what Shadow Priest is going to be, worst case, 10% or roughly behind the highest class. It's not for a really well played Shadow Priest. You shouldn't be down that low, yeah, even in the top guilds. But 10% could be a big deal for speedrunning guilds, right? So that's kind of where the issues occur.
I think a big thing is you see Shadow Priest on the meters now. You see them. They're more. It's not like TBC where it's like, oh, we have a Shadow Priest. Just because you know you're getting mana back, you actually see it. You see the damage they're doing. You'll see them on the meters. You see the AOE packs. You see the Mind Seer. So you kind of, I guess you feel a Shadow Priest
for, like,
more.
the mage and healers.
Yeah. You feel a Shadow Priest. You feel a Shadow Priest's DPS more than you did in TBC. More than just like, oh, I'm seeing my mana come back, which is nice, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be running Shadow in Wrath, so I'm pretty happy my guilds let me do that. So I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I will too. I'm very excited. It might be my main second class. I'm hoping it's my Boomy, but I'm leaving it up to the raid leader. But I mean, I'm be fine if it's Shadow as well.
If there's a way for Shadow to be viable in speedrunning, I'll find it and I'll run it.
Nice. It's
get
rid of the hit.
Some terrifying specs. That
Mind control.
Oh, some terrifying theory crafting ideas.
Like what?
The miserable spec, I've called it. That's you're basically just a disc priest that sits in shadow form. So you would drop the disc priest, and you can drop the boomkin because you retain the hit from misery, and now you're just a shadow priest doing shadow priest things like keeping up replenishment, etc., applying hit with your spells, doing a little bit of DPS, but also you can cast shields from within shadow form, so you can just do the entire job of a disc priest and do damage. So there is potential.
That's actually pretty clutch. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it.
To bring something else that does more damage, like the same reason you drop Shadow.
Yeah, another lock or something.
Yeah, another lock.
Or Death Knight
or a
something
Death Knight.
else.
Yeah, I was like, or another Death Knight. Those are like yep.
I can't imagine dropping a Boomy. Boomies do so much damage, and Nax is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
they do more damage in Afflict. They do more damage than some of the Warlocks. Besides, like a good overall demo lock, like Boomy's fucking in the right hands is like hard carrying. I know we're just speculating, but I can't imagine Boomy. I still think Boomies are slept on. Is that weird? Am I weird? Or
no, Boomy's pumped, dude.
I fucking still think they're slept on because there's so many Boomies out there, and they're not, they're playing incorrectly or correctly, and they're just getting, I think they're still overtly slept on.
I think Boomkins are going to probably peak though in
Oldies,
Nax and Oldawar. Yeah, and then they're going to fall off.
I agree. I hope not, because I'll play one the whole time. But I agree with you. Yeah, that's why Shadow Priest. I'm almost more excited for Shadow Priest than anything else because it is one of the only casters that really just keep going scaling up more. While the other casters literally don't. They don't do it as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted to see the lock Discord yesterday. I was posting screenshots of damage logs from OG Nax, Oldawar, and TOGC and ICC and Shadow Priest right at the top a lot of the time. So I'm pretty excited.
I always look at those little weird because it's so long ago and people aren't playing right.
I hear you.
But yeah, that's nice to see.
Still pumping, dude.
My eyes were opened on, it was like Oldawar, and there was a Shadow. My first time seeing a good Shadow Priest, and I was like, yo, Shadow's good? He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. Months of playing servers, I never seen a good Shadow Priest, and I finally found that one that was like, oh, not even that geared, wasn't buying nothing from the shop. He was just straight pump playing a Shadow Priest correctly, and I was like, this is Shadow. Okay, this is nice. So it's gonna be interesting to see all those. It'll be fun too.
It sounds like just the same as TBC.
Yeah. I talk about the stackability of a class.
I don't.
And would you bring two Shadow Priests?
You wouldn't. There's the very rare weird situation if for some reason you need to bring one extra healer for one particular fight, and all you've got is an extra priest. And they dual spec between healing and shadow. That's the only time I could ever see bringing two.
Or if you're homies and you're a shit guild, then you can bring two.
Oh yeah, if you're just bringing players, if you're just bringing you're playing with your friends, you're doing whatever, bring however many you want. But if you're just bringing them for damage, right?
Yeah, you're gonna clear content either way. I mean, Nax is gonna be a joke, but top guilds bring one, potentially, most likely none.
There you go. Next one is leveling and then gold farming and then pre-patch. So, do you have a leveling? I guess. I don't think there's a difference.
There is a
from,
leveling
like,
guide
dungeon
on
cleaving.
WoWhead.
Yeah, I don't think there's a difference in talents from dungeon cleaving and open worlding, but
No, there's not much of a difference. A lot of it kind of like might change when you want meditation, but not really.
so leveling 1 to
there
80
is
best talent builds right here. So I have personally, you guys can touch on it as well. I have personally leveled a full 70 to 80 on the beta in open world. They're not dungeon cleave for, obviously, to touch on dungeon cleaving. I would suggest not dungeon cleaving because you don't get mines through till 75. I think I personally will be dungeon cleaving on my priest at some point, and I'm gonna be disciplined until I get mines here. Then maybe switch, but I might stay disciplined the whole time.
Also,
yeah, just miserable until mines here. Absolutely, you're not. Everything's dying so fast.
Kind of a weird recommendation, but if you're leveling 2 characters to 80 and one of them is a priest, level the priest second and level the priest in the open world because they are one of the best open world questers in the game. And if you're trying to quest in the open world on release, you're not going to get to experience that. You can't chain pull mobs when there are 50 million players around you. That's where they shine, and you can't do that on release. So do it for a second character when things calm down a bit, and you'll get to experience the best Shadow has to offer.
Yep. And I would say also, let me put a time on this so I know how to do it. 3, 13. I leveled from 70 to 80 in the open world. Wasn't that full because it was beta, but it was absolutely no. I did it right at the level of Affliction Lock. I felt the difference obviously because I think I sat down and drank like twice the whole time. Like literally the entire time. There was no mana issues at all with dispersion on such a short cooldown. It really was you pulling as many mobs as you can while running and then dispersing, and nobody could hit you, and it'll be dead by the time your dispersion is done. No mana issues. Yeah, I didn't have any issues at all. And then a big thing that people sleep on in terms of mob tagging is debuffs were changed. There's a slight change of debuffs from now on. In TBC, when you put a Shadow or Pain, Corruption, whatever on somebody, you don't get that mob tag until it does damage. That was changed, and now you get the mob tag the minute your fucking dot hits the target. So you put a Shadow Pain up on the target, it's yours. Versus you having to wait.
It's crazy how that change is so helpful, dude.
It's crazy.
It's insane. Yeah.
Usually you would go, oh, here's my Pain, and a hunter sniped it that long, that 30 seconds, whatever. A hunter sniped it, a fucking frost lance, whatever it's called, ice lance. Now it's like as soon as it touches, it's mine. So now you can literally just be like, oh, I got this one. You have mouse over. You have this one. This is all mine now. This is all mine, and it works. And it's so crazy. It makes you the best tagger. Warlocks, Affliction, anything with a dot. Affliction Warlocks, Boomies, and Shadow Priest are the #1.
Boomies were already so good, dude.
Yeah, they're #1 open world questers. Are those 3 casters, even over everything of the melees, because they can do it's instant. It's yours, and it's so irritating. It's not irritating for me, but it's irritating for everybody else because you see someone running there, you're like, nah, that's mine. And you'll see people like, I've seen it happen a lot too. They'll go tag it out. They still go hit it because like, oh yeah, but it didn't do damage right away. I'm like, nah, bro, it's mine. Like that's literally mine. And that makes you, and especially in like a busy server, open world scenario, mouse it over. As soon as you see him, you just fucking hit that. That's yours. You don't have to worry about anything. And the best part of it, even over a warlock, was you do some crazy shit. Say you're being real fucking greedy, and you're like, oh well, shit, 5 spawn, and you mine sear, snap them all, or you do whatever to snap them all. You can just dispersion, bro. And they won't kill you.
Dispersion, shield
down the whole time.
Yep, heal yourself up. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Cast renew, shield, then dispersion.
Pretty crazy.
Kind of really strong.
Yeah, it's really good for open world.
Lead you to having really good gold farming potentials?
To be honest,
Go for a patch. So the main things, like if I'm what I'd consider gold farming as a Shadow Priest in Wrath would be like Wintergrasp elementals and that kind of thing. But the issue with them is they're pretty spread out and you don't have a lot of mobility, and that's where you get hit. That's your main stopping point for them. So like other classes, even just like a warrior, you're charging mob to mob, constantly moving. But as a Shadow Priest, you still have to run that, and you can't chain the same way. You can't pull 10 mobs at the same time and disperse while they die to dots because they're so spread apart.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there any Yeah, I found a good gold farm. I was like, are there any
I wonder
really
if there
good
is
gold
any
farms for Shadow Priest? Yeah,
I feel like the
I
gold
guess-
farming like meta hasn't been like figured out or something. I feel like we don't see, besides like you see some people
Yeah.
like, yeah, I have the best gold farming guide in the world, and it's like the shit you find online. But actual solid like gold farming, I really don't.
I'm
yeah,
not familiar
I really
enough.
don't know if there is.
I'm
It's
not.
like
I'm not
Rogue
familiar
has
enough.
the best
Yeah.
one, I think.
Yeah, but it's
Grab
kinda-
yourself a
Warlock
Fell
and-
Striker.
I would say Shadow Priest. Mob tagging, like you can not mob tagging, but like mob grinding. I did a mob grinding session as a Shadow Priest, got like 550k per hour, SP per hour grinding it, and it dropped some good stuff. So I mean, you had the option of doing some mob grinding gold farms. I don't know how good they were in terms of gold per hour, but you as a Shadow Priest you can mob grind. I'm talking you endlessly. It was like 30 minutes straight of nonstop pulling mobs before me, new Shadow Priest ran out of mana. So put that in the right hands, and they'll probably go even longer than 30-45 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
There's a lot of like hyper spawn locations in Wrath, significantly more than any other expansion that I know of so far. I mean, there's just locations where like by the time you kill the mobs, no matter how fast you kill them, like 6 respawn at the same time. You're just like, what? It's kind of sick.
You want to talk about
Yeah,
this for a second, Big Tit, when you're done?
It's just more of what we were touching on before with that stupid spec. It's what we were explaining like much earlier on with Sunwell speedrunning, how you would run a boomkin who would occasionally off heal and mostly just do damage. This spec is a similar thing where you do drop some single target damage. However, your heals are there to back it up because you go decently far enough into the disc tree to get mostly everything that you need, avoiding a few of the throughput talents just to maintain some DPS. But this spec is basically what you'd be running in that case.
You're not dropping too much damage either.
Oh,
It
yeah.
Mind Blast, Dispersion, which technically you really don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
the-
outside of mana, do you really need Dispersion too at the same time? So yeah.
It's Twisted Faith is the main thing you're losing, the scaling from Spirit, but you get the disc scaling instead.
Mm-hmm. You drop one for the alternative.
Yeah. I like it.
I'd be curious to see what like sim wise, like percentage wise, what the difference is in your DPS between those two specs.
I think in Phase 1 BiS, I think it's 15% lower.
Oh, so that's actually, I mean, large enough. But I mean, you're not bringing the disc priest, so that's
Yeah, you
huge
bring
drop.
an entire additional DPS as a result.
yeah.
So obviously that 15% trade-off for, let's say, an extra Warlock.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much a no-brainer. However, we'll have to see how it fares because this is all just theory crafting at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part of the game, dude. Theory crafting. Playing sucks. I'm just kidding.
Okay, Dad.
All right, and then I think the last one would be about pre-patch. I personally have a pre-patch Shadow Priest guide that these gentlemen helped me with pretty much the whole time, and that'll be posted tonight. Other than that, I'm going to bring up your pre-patch talent
Dude.
build.
Yeah.
Shadow
I'm
Priest
pretty
Talk
Talk
much
about
about
pre-
pre-
have you
ready
guys
for
rated
Shadow
pre-patch
Priest.
already? I assume you guys
Oh
have.
yeah.
You want to talk about it? How help out with whoever?
Pre-patch is just great for Shadow Priest. Enjoy it. You're like so many people are just posting. Oh, I'm so happy! I finally topped the DPS meters, and they've like absolutely obliterated the overall damage in their raid. Even
You guys are doing great then.
Great.
Pre-patch, you like it?
Yeah, I'm pumping, dude. It feels good. A lot of people I know are pumping. Every other day there's someone posting, 6K DPS, 5K DPS. And people are doing a
Yeah.
lot of DPS right now as Shadow.
That's dope. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
The only negative, of course, is that you don't have Mindseer. So AoE kind of sucks, kind of boring. You can
Do you have
do Holy
Glyph?
Nova spec if you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have Glyph of Holy Nova at this, or is it out?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
You don't have Glyph of Shadow though. The one of
It's
our
the
only
big
good
one.
glyphs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glyph of Shadow is like 500 DPS, like I was saying earlier. It sucks we don't have that.
Yeah.
500
And
DPS.
so
that's crazy.
I guess I'll caveat the discussion on pre-batch with one cool thing about pre-batch, which it shows is how well Shadow Priests are going to scale into the expansion of Wrath. And the reason for that is haste at level 70. The conversion between haste rating and haste percent is much lower, right? So you have higher haste percent in pre-patch than you're actually going to have in Nax. So that's why Shadow Priests are, completely pumping right now, is because they scale so well with haste and crit rating. And then once you get to Nax, the haste rating a normalizing factor doubles, so your actual haste percentage drops, even though you have higher number in your rating. So you'll see that the DPS of Shadow Priest goes back down, and then as you go through the expansion, that haste percentage is going to go back up to like the 40-50% levels, and that's when Shadow Priests just start topping charts again. Anyway,
I love it.
nerdy shit, dude.
I love that shit, dude. I'm
I wish
like,
I had one already ready to
seems
go.
like it'd be, yeah, right. It seems like it'd be really fun to be rocking right now. Shadow and like also the same vein, like Ret right now is just like looks like it'd be so fun, and like going into like 10 mans, you're just seeing him just destroy everything before you can DPS, or like Boomkin's single target right now is crazy.
Yeah, Boomkin's looking pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was topping 10 mans on my fresh dinged demo lock. It was fantastic.
There we go. Just all of the classes feel so fun right now. What a golden time. This is like, I love pre-patch. I get so excited for pre-patch always.
I can't
so
wait
much to do.
for Wednesday when we just
Yeah.
don't get to play because everything's killed by zombies.
Oh,
Is that this
Is that
Wednesday
Wednesday?
that's launching?
Is it this one? I think it is. Maybe I'm
Oh
wrong.
my god.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
that's
least you got your leveling
that's
out of the way.
That with
your
the
list
lag,
center.
that with the lag is gonna be interesting.
Oh no! Oh, I just gonna lag out on Gehenna and suddenly I've exploded and I'm a zombie.
Yeah,
Crazy.
absolutely.
Well, unless you guys have something else you want to add into this, we hit the agenda. Good.
Yeah, I
people
posted,
first. Thank you.
Yeah, I posted a log from one of the experts in our
God,
guild,
his name
or
is
in our
Shadow.
Discord.
Fucking pog, bro. That's so dope.
Yeah,
Oh,
He-
he's yeah.
he's really good. He's really good at PvP too. So when you have a PvP discussion, you should bring him in.
Yeah, he's what is it? Gladiator every season so far in TBC.
Yeah, he's legit.
Yeah.
But he also is really good at PvE, and you can see his log here. He's
Damn,
just
look at that. Brutalis.
yeah, he's completely
Brutalis
pumping. Look,
99s too. Arcane, Shadow. Look how close everything is at 99. That's good. Usually
at
you
his
see Shadow
KJ.
down here at 99. Like that.
look at it. Look at his KJ. It's just fucking crazy.
Because of the haste too, yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, he's just. I'm telling you, like right now, Shadow and Prepatch is gonna be what you're gonna expect Shadow to do in Old War
Holy
and
shit,
TOGC.
I didn't know this, that they were pumping pre-patch like this.
Yeah, they're really good if played well. So again, you have to learn the rotation changes. You can't just continue doing what you did in TBC. That's the key. A lot of people in most guilds, I'm assuming most Shadow Priests, are just going to try to do what they've been doing, and they're going to have a hard time keeping up on the meters. It's really kind of changing your philosophy of play, and you're
Yeah.
going to be fucking pumping, dude.
So mad I missed raid last night. I was looking forward to it. Fucking queues. That's crazy. That's so good. I love seeing that shit. I like seeing I like seeing new shit. You know.
Muru always looks back as a dispel, but whatever.
Compare now what? Well, yeah, we already know Archimage is good, dog. You mages are. You know what's annoying about mages? You guys don't say shit when you're trash. You just wait till you guys are good to say something. That's so pathetic, bro.
Yeah, they spent the entire
We already know you guys are OP. It's a
fighting the
fucking
tanks.
50-second fight. You bum. Anyway, I love you. Anything else?
It is funny to see, like, and it's crazy to see like where things have stacked out on that meter, where it's like just Arcane Mage, Combat Rogue, and Balance Druid just pumping single target. and it's
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
Yep. Stomping like everything.
Yep.
Then yeah, pre-patch.
Any questions from chat?
Yeah, we hang out for a couple minutes. Any questions? Shoot them down. Shoot them down. God, this
How
so
late is it
cool
where
to
you're at,
watch, bro.
Passion?
Oh, it's midnight.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. So you're realm time. You're CT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ass is doing good too. Is that Ass? I don't know. I don't know the
Is
world
the server
servers.
working now? That's the question. Should be like a decent time.
Should
People
Shadow
go to
Priest
sleep.
get some specific add-ons or weakers? Yeah, look for Passion on Wago and just grab everything.
I love seeing these Ellie shamans up here randomly. Just like going to the page and looking down and seeing this, where it's like mage, lock, rogue, one priest, couple priest. Like I love seeing scattered shit the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hunter. Like you see one of every class right here, pretty much in this first top 100. That's so fucking dope to me.
Actually, I do want to add one little topic that's a difference between TBC and Wrath that we didn't cover. In TBC, you never wanted to overwrite your dots. So if you had a dot running, you wanted to wait for it to fall off before you reapply, or you lose the last tick. In Wrath, because you have now have hasted dots, that snapshot bloodlust and such, it's actually more DPS to overwrite. Let's say you have 2 more ticks left before it falls off on bloodlust, but you have 2 seconds left of bloodlust. You want to overwrite that dot and overwrite those last few ticks, such that you can extend that bloodlust duration for a few more ticks after bloodlust falls off. Another big one is if you start the encounter, and wow, my voice just changed like crazy. You start the encounter and you apply like a VT or a Devouring Plague, and then Bloodlust comes up. It's actually more DPS. It's not a wasted GCD to put back Devouring Plague up again with the Bloodlust, even if the first Devouring Plague hasn't even ticked. It's crazy how much of an increase in DPS that actually is. So those are some new things that Shadow Priest should be thinking about while they're doing their rotation. Is and I have more plots. It's kind of funny in the theory crafting channel that show how much added haste and added spell power do I need to get, such that it's a DPS increase to reapply my dot before it falls off. So hopefully someone makes a weak aura that just tells you, hey, reapply. But those aren't made yet. But the sim also has all this logic implemented into it. So if you went through and looked at what's the sim doing and how is it snapshotting these dots, it will tell you exactly what's the best way to handle it.
Dope. There's a weak aura.
Yeah.
This is a weak aura that I'm personally using that just keeps track of everything. Passion made it.
Updated today, so now it also covers Discipline Priest.
Nice. There you go.
A lot more.
I love it. I went through a lot of them, and this is the one that I stuck with the most. It just keeps track of, I've obviously deleted some of the stuff, but it keeps track of everything else. If I was to get a proc, tricks, PI, anything, it'll pop up and let you know. Like, you can't. I like it because you can't forget shit, really. If you're halfway paying attention, you're not going to forget anything.
So someone asked about plague spam. That's a thing if you're doing in movement. If you shower deaths on cooldown, you have to move. It's fine to put up another plague. It's not really a wasted GCD because you're moving anyway. But I don't think spamming plague. So some people were bringing it up. Yeah, so some people were saying, well, if there's like a couple seconds left on a fight, is it better to just start spamming plague instead of mind flaying or such? I did want to go and actually look at the math associated with that, but the fact that the sim's not doing it makes me skeptical that it's actually a DPS increase. But I did want to go off and look at the math to say, is it okay to spam your Devouring Plague near the end of a fight?
But yeah, in movement, it is your best option. It's worth losing some ticks of Devouring Plague to spam it, because the upfront damage is 30% of its overall damage.
There you go. Getting tricks. What fantasy land is this? Hey, you're faded if you think that there won't be a Shadow Priest out there getting tricks and PI, Doug. There's gonna be them out there.
I 100% am going to ask my guild for a PI on some runs, because if I want to compete world, you have to. But tricks doesn't go to your parse, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
But PI is something you're going to want to ask for if you want to get, top 10 world.
Yeah, but if
talking about tricks, if people are literally fighting about tricks in raid, I'm like, yo, like, it doesn't matter.
Warlock should get tricks. There's no at the first tricks. I assume they're going to ask for it. So the fun thing about Warlock is if you get the first tricks, you actually lose personal DPS, and the reason for that is because you won't want to snapshot your execute corruption, because you're already going to have a plus 15% on your tricks, which is more raid DPS, and you get plus 12% later on. But that isn't, you're not going to want to reapply corruption there, because then you lose the tricks. So it's unless you get 2 tricks as an yeah, exactly.
I just want to point out that like the top passing Shadow Priests in TBC were in groups with 3 Beast Mastery Hunters and an Elemental Shaman. If you think Shadow Priests aren't going to get tricks in any situation, then you have not been paying attention.
Well, but luckily, again, tricks doesn't go to your parse, so I think we're okay there.
Oh God, they fucking changed that. That's crazy. It's annoying talking about tricks, and they already changed it, dog. It's crazy.
Whoever gets the most raid DPS should get it, hands down. That's it. Because that's what matters at the end of the day.
I personally wish they'd do that with everything. I wish that like PI spam wasn't going to be a thing, but
if you could like almost discredit a log, like the log didn't count if you had like any PIs. Like if there's a tab,
Well,
it's
they
like
can't-
no
Yeah,
buffs.
for sure.
Yeah,
The
that's
thing
tough.
with Crix
Like,
is it's
if you
easy
got
because it's
free-
base damage, right? So it's really easy for them to track instead of like any other buff that would be like haste or crit or anything like that. Because then it could involves the RNG of crits and such. Yeah.
I just do what I do, and whenever I see a log, a warlock log with like PI, I'm just not gonna. No one's gonna count it. Like, nah, we're counting only one lust. One lust Andy's here. If you got double anything, we're not counting it. That's all you gotta do.
People got super discouraged by the end of TBC though, because to get a top Shadow Priest pass, to get a 100 pass, you had to get so many buffs to keep up.
Yeah, it was
People
pretty.
were going nuts.
We lost a lot of our good Shadow Priest players who actually played really well. They just, got discouraged and were just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll play something else.
I think
It's
the
such a big class,
entryway
dude.
for parsing is going to be a lot better in Lich King. It'll be a lot easier.
Oh, 100%.
It'll be easier to parse, as in like the buff wise, but it'll be harder for some classes because you're not just pressing Shadow Bolt, or you're not
Yeah, someone said Rip Mori, 100%. Yeah, he was super good at playing.
Yeah.
Well, any closing thoughts, my friends? That was a good episode, a little 3.5 hour banger right there.
Yeah, that was fun.
3.5
Shadow, yeah.
class with 1 DPS spec. We've done it.
We did it.
I mean, biggest thing, and probably we already mentioned, is the Shadow Priest Discord. Come to it.
Link
We
it
like
right
to,
there.
we like numbers. The Sim's
To
awesome.
clarify, this is not the Priest Discord, which you can join as well. I'll link that. But this is specifically a Shadow Priest Discord. It's only for Shadow Priest. Anybody's
I
welcome,
think
but it's not.
Yeah. So it's worth mentioning that all the information that ends up on the Priest Discord starts on the Shadow Priest Discord. Basically, all the actual theory crafting happens on the Shadow Priest Discord. All Linelo's plots and graphs and all that, Shadow Priest Discord.
And then, are you guys do you do some streaming or something? You got some good cameras set up. You know what I mean? You want to link to Twitch and let me know about it?
I'll
You
be
can link it, or you
I'll
can
be
toss it
streaming
in.
I'll be streaming in RAF. I'll be trying to stream as much as I can, at least every raid and my leveling, and I'll be playing Shadow Priest at least once a week. And other than that, I write for WoWhead and I write for Warcraft Tavern. You can find me on both websites at Passion Gets Carried and on Twitch.
I got you.
I
man.
don't stream. You can find me talking shit on the Lock Discord. That's probably where I'll be.
Oh, I see you there, bud. That being said, when's
I'll
our
be
lock,
coming-
our lock sim's gonna be done, bud?
Dude, not here.
Yeah, not here. What's up, Big Top? How you doing, man? How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'll definitely be streaming when I get back to the game. As I mentioned earlier, I'm taking like a short break, but I'll be coming back to streaming. I'll be coming back to speedrunning. And until then, if you want to reminisce all my speedrunning VODs and stuff, the rank 15 world we got, that's all on my YouTube on Bigtitgoth GF.
I want that big tit guide. That's what I want.
I might be coming. We'll see. Might be happening.
You got to do it, because if you do, I have to. I don't want to really. I'd rather you guys do it. But
You play Shadow Priest bad. I love that. It's awesome.
I want you guys to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
The working title is "You Still Play Shadow Priest Bad."
That's hilarious.
That title tree like made so many people so
Can you link
mad.
your YouTube? I can't find your YouTube.
Oh,
What
it's
is
great.
it?
It's just Bigtitgoth GF if you search it up.
You
That's
can't
so
do
funny.
that.
You
can't
get
do
so
that.
many. You probably get so many people that like are not looking for World of Warcraft content.
This isn't a big tit goth.
Yeah, I did
They're
it.
like, wait a fucking second. Did I Google this right?
Yeah,
hilarious.
Crix, just put that in your browser. Do it.
Right? Big. Oh, yeah, right. Big Tit Goth. Wonder what will come up. I already know it's going to come up.
Yeah, right.
It autofills itself. I mean, what? Well,
That's so
It's like search it again. Oh no. Wrong.
Passion, Big Tit, Linelo, thank you guys so much for coming, bro. I really appreciate you guys. I can't wait for
Yeah,
phase
I
one.
Yes.
For each of these class
It was
specs, we're
very
going to
fun.
do a phase one like update and shit like that. Would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it was good shit. Thanks, guys.
Sarthe,
Yeah, you
buddy,
guys
I
do
love
all
you, man.
well.
You have anything to say before we go?
No, love you guys. That was a epic episode. I like I mentioned in the Discord chat. I was like, I know nothing at all about Shadow Priest, so it was really cool to fucking learn. So thank you
Yeah, I
guys
hope
for
you
being
feel-
here. Appreciate it.
I hope you feel ready to play Shadow Priest effectively now. That's the goal, isn't it?
I hope
And
you
maybe
feel
now
ready
I'll
to
top
not
the
have
meters,
one.
so now I'm going to top the meters for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice.
my 17th ult will be Shadow. I'll make it now.
Sarthe, you going live right now?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna make videos also.
Okay. Sound good.
Thanks, dudes.
So, Love
Y'all
you guys. I'll
later.
see you everybody tomorrow.
Yes, we'll post this tomorrow morning at 8 morning, by the way.
Boom. Yep. Sounds good.
See you guys
Thanks.
later. Love you guys.
Pleasure.
Peace.